Hello and welcome to a championship Sunday at the PGA Championship Rain Show powered by T-Mobile. I'm Charlie Hume. Alongside me is Smiley Kaufman. We've got a special guest joining us here shortly, Smiley, a PGA professional and an instructor to several tour pros, Jamie Mulligan. And the next 2+ hours, we're bringing you live coverage from the T-Mobile range right behind us, thanks to T-Mobile's 5G network, Smiley. Man, we got a great day on tap. I will say, it's considerably warmer today than the summer of cotton's in full swing. I don't know if they can see this back here. I don't know if I want to show this off. I think I got like the state of Florida just happening on my chest right now. It's warm. It's a toasty one today.
Yeah, you got to embrace it. And I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely warm today, up in the mid 80s, out of the southwest again. And there's some good scores out there on the golf course, similar to yesterday morning when we came on air and seeing the likes of Chris Kirk and Justin Rose playing well today.
Kirk
Kitayama's posted a 63, lowest score of the week. And what does that mean for the rest of the day? Well, if somebody else does that at even par, they could be winning this golf tournament. So there's a lot to get into, especially in our window here with you and I on the desk with the guys that are going to be warming up.
And let's take a look at this leaderboard right here we have up, where Alex Smalley has a 2-shot lead at 6 under, going off at 2:35 p.m. And the chasing pack, I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys at 4 under and a number of others at 3 under. And then amongst those names, I mean, major champions, Jon Rahm at 4 under, Patrick Reed at 3 under, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele at 3 under. It is going to be literally anything could happen today to Ronald, Smiley.
100%, and it's so interesting. Yesterday we were looking at Kirk Kitayama and his whole warm up, and it looked out how dialed he was, right? And it's not surprising to see that he had a good Sunday today, but you're right. So many players having an opportunity to win today on Sunday at the PGA Championship. Alex Smalley making all those birdies late in the day yesterday. How did he sleep last night? We'll see. But he's got a 2-shot lead.
Was that the hardest sleep, like, of anyone in the history of sleeping on leads? Do you think that might be the hardest lead to ever sleep on, given the names chasing him and how tight that lead is?
It's at a major championship. There's only so much you can control. It's just one shot at a time. You have to try to stay in that mindset the best you can. I know Alex Smalley was thinking about potentially holding the Wanamaker Trophy as he probably put his head on his pillow, and it's so easy to want to have those thoughts. I think it's just human nature. But Alex, he's not won yet on the PGA Tour. He's been in contention over the last 3 or so weeks, so he knows what the feelings are like. But still, yesterday he answered the call late in the day, and today's going to be a different story when he's got a lot of big names that are going to be out in front of him. Rory McIlroy's of the world, Xander Schauffele, Jon Rahm, Ludwig Oberg, that are all going to have the crowd on their side.
We've been telling you all week how entertaining this PGA Championship has been, how unprecedented the test that Aronimec has presented has been. But you don't have to take our word for it, because right now we're hear some sound from Ludwig Oberg, Rory McIlroy, and Scotty Scheffler last night talking about that very topic.
I mean, my PGA Tour career isn't necessarily very long at this point, but I've never seen anything like it. It's very tight. I think there's a lot of good players within striking distance going into tomorrow, and it's a cool thing, I think, for the viewers. I think it's cool to see that many guys have a chance to win a tournament.
It's frustrating to us, but at the same time, it creates a hell of an entertaining championship. So if I wasn't playing this tournament, I'd love what's going on this week, but watching and playing are two different things.
Yeah, I've never seen a leaderboard like this bunched up, but going into tomorrow, it's quite literally anybody's tournament. There's a lot of guys that have a chance, and going into tomorrow, just somebody is going to have a great round, and I'm going to go out there and make sure, do my best to give myself the best shot at being the one who has a great round.
Scotty, Ludwig, both saying they've quite literally never seen anything like this. Rory saying, look, I know we've been frustrated all week long, but if I was sitting at home and watching this, I'd be highly entertained. I mean, it's almost hard to put into words or compare it to something else in terms of what we've seen in a major championship. It's a kind of a one-on-one right now.
Oh, it 100% is, and I think this golf course is set up for somebody to go out, to go out and shoot a 65, 64. Who's not feeling the pressure today? Who can go out and execute? And this golf course, it's been such a treat to watch, and these players trying to navigate these difficult contours of these greens. It's interesting setup today too. The par threes are set up very difficult. A couple hole locations on the front side with wedges you got to be in the fairway on. But then I think about too, when you get to 17 and you think about, I got to make a birdie here at 17. Of course, you got the steep bank short left of this green with the hole location cut right over top of it, with firm greens and honestly a wind direction that's not conducive for it. So you got a drivable par 4 at 13 today with a very tough hole location. So I'm just so intrigued to see who can get on their front foot early, because this is all about this front nine. Who can go out and shoot a 3-4 under par round on that front, which is totally doable. We've seen it done all week, and but on a Sunday, there's plenty of guys that can go and do it. Who's going to be the guy to do it?
And we are looking live at a 3-time winner of this PGA Championship, Brooks Koepka. He is currently 1 under, which has him in a tie for 26th. He tees off at 12.25. This week, Smiley, his strong suits have been off the tee, 7th in strokes gained for the week there, and then 6th in strokes gained around the green. So for Brooks, I think every player I'm going to toss to, I'm going to tee up with, I guess this guy has a chance.
Yeah, they do. That's the thing. And you don't know what the number's going to be. Alex Smalley, of course, could maybe run away and hide, of course, with just a 2-shot advantage heading into today. If he goes out and shoots 4 under par, that really, kind of eliminates a lot of players. If he goes out and has a nice day today, it feels like really only the 4 3-unders have a chance if he goes out and plays well. But if Alex Smalley goes out and shoots even par, maybe a couple under, there's so many guys that have a chance.
So, okay, look, Brooks here, as we're looking at the top tracer range, he's carried several of these wedges kind of in the high 80s, 87, 88 yards here. And on a day right now, not a ton of wind out here. We're expecting maybe a little more this afternoon. Talk to us about what he's going through in his warm-up right now, what he's working on.
Well, Brooks is just an excellent ball striker. Look at how straight he's hit those last 3 shots. Just no curve on it. He's still one of the best long iron players I've ever watched. A guy that, if anything, his miss is left. For a guy that's got, a little bit more of a shut face, the way he takes it back in the backswing, that face isn't getting open at all. And, I think when he was having some knee problems over the last, you probably point to about 3 or 4 years ago, that's when he really started to kind of have a bit of a two-way miss, when he was not able to kind of trust and brace into impact. So it's good to see him back healthy. The ball striking's there. The putter's been trending the right direction, but to be fair, it's really difficult to hole putts on these greens.
Smiley, Philadelphia is a city of champions, and we're going to reset the show here by hearing from an Eagle and 2 Phillies, Cooper DeJean, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard, talking about the way that they're going to crown yet another champion in Philadelphia today, here Sunday at the PGA Championship.
Sunday's at a major. There's nowhere left to hide. You don't win playing careful. You don't protect the lead by backing off. Not in this city. In Philadelphia, you keep your foot on the gas.
This is a place that doesn't just celebrate greatness, it demands it.
The course is ready. The city is ready. So now the question is, who's ready to meet that standard? Who's ready to make it theirs? Because there's nothing better than being able to call yourself that simple one-word title, champion. Who's ready to make it theirs and raise the Wanamaker Trophy?
We are thrilled to be joined now by Jamie Mulligan, a PGA professional and instructor to Patrick Cantlay, Nelly Corda, amongst many others. And Jamie, I'm going to start where Smiley and I just left off discussing. Can you remember a Sunday, a major championship Sunday that resembles this at all?
And doing what I get to do for a living, we love hard, right? We're all training for hard. You're all spinning pins like in the corner. We have these little greens at Virginia where I oversee the club there, and they're half the size of a normal green, and we put the pins in the corners and we try to hit it in that spot. But we don't play very many golf tournaments like that. So to watch it, be careful what you ask for. And whoever wins that trophy and puts that, gets that big check, and becomes the PGA champion, they're going to earn it today. We promise you that.
Well, of course, Jamie, you're an excellent swing instructor. Of course, working with Nelly Quarter, Patrick Cantlay is playing well today, and of course, many other times in his career. But my question for you is, players always have different feels when they come into a major championship round. Some days you could tell they got it. Sometimes you could tell they're kind of trying to find it. As a coach, how do you try to get a player psychologically and mentally ready to go to try to keep them as organized as possible heading to that first tee?
Well, yeah, and those those two players, Nelly and Patrick, while very good and very similar to a lot of the things that they do, they're very different as people. And Patrick, I've been coaching since he was 8, so I think we're on 26 years there. And he's a creature of habit, so getting in him to be habitual about what he goes about things is what we want to see happen. I know you know this better than anybody from when you play. Beware of the great warm-up. You know, it can either lead to really good things or really weird things. So I kind of like that little tweener warm-up for sure.
Jamie, as we go to Cam Smith here on the range, Smiley's been through this process. You've been through this process a number of times. I think it'd be interesting for all the viewers at home and people like myself. What does a day of prep look like at a major championship? Like just charting out the entire day, you know, into the warm-up and your specific role as a PGA Pro as part of that warm-up.
Well, doing this for 3+ decades, it's changed a lot. We'd say it was a 6-hour day before, now it's a 12-hour day, right?
Wow.
If they're going to play at 9 o'clock like they did this morning, I imagine Pat was up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then nicely cooked breakfast, so it's nutritional, and then workout and physio work, and then an hour and a half warm-up touching on all parts of the game, and then he's going to go out and play. And if this was Saturday, we'd kind of take it the other way and we would do the same thing. We'd hit some chips and hit some pots and hit some balls, and then he would go back to physio, and then, you know, by 8 o'clock he's out go the lights, where in the old days, being with John Cook and going there, Cookie, it'd be like, you know, 2 pieces of bacon, a couple putts with his bullseye, a couple pitches, he'd hit it when he was done, and very rarely did when he want to warm down because he always hit it so good.
That's
so
right.
That was that. 6 hours and he's out.
Well, Jamie, it's so easy to overcomplicate this game, and you know, when players get to the range, I think many amateurs that are listening to the show are always trying to pick up something that these players are doing pre-round. We've seen many different drills that players are working on. We see Cameron Smith have a device that he's using here. What do you personally like, whether it be for a player or an amateur, that they can do before every single round that they play, just to kind of calibrate them?
Yeah, I love one fundamental structured drill that you have that you always use, and that's your baby. And it will change. We probably changed, you know, 1,000 different times with Patrick trying to say the same thing, but it's the same drill. And then probably the thing that doesn't get spoken about enough is it's a rhythm game, and when you're warming up, you're getting ready to play in pace and play in rhythm. And as much as everybody tries to hit the golf ball a long ways, they're doing it with effortless power. You watch Nelly's warm-up, she gets smoother as the warm-up goes and goes and goes, and that driver starts to crack, you know, by what she's doing. So I like that as well. And we're always emphasizing, we would say something like this week with Pat, it's, you know, staying quiet with your shoulders and staying nice paced for me, and we'll say that over and over and over again. So that's that, and then just reiterating and then keeping things really chill, trying to say 3 or 4 little jokes to make them laugh.
That's right.
Play golf, right?
That's right. Charlie, you heard that too a second ago, how Nelly's warm-up, as she keeps going, gets smoother and smoother, the ball starts going further and further. It sounds a lot like your warm-up.
Yeah, my warm-up is, let's how should we say? You know, there are a lot of, the nutritional input is maybe a little different than what Patrick Cantlay puts into it at the beginning of the morning. We all get there, you know, somehow, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I run a country club, and when you're done watching everybody's carts and they're full of high noons,
there you go.
There's their warm-up, right?
He said it, not us.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I have both of you here now, because I've been peppering Smiley with questions all week long about drills, training aids, and we just saw Cam no longer has it on, but I don't know if you saw that device he had where there was like a blue foam top to it.
It was something that was new to me.
I've never seen that before.
I haven't seen it before. As well. I do think in his golf swing, you know, he had some bounce at the top of the backswing, and it looks quiet up there, don't you think?
Yeah.
It looks better than I've seen it look in a long, long time. My goodness, you know, we haven't got to see him as much because of where he's been playing, but Did he chip and putt it beautifully for his little run? Yeah. He's a guy you want to watch hit 5-footers because it just looks right.
Yeah, 100%. He's such a good chipper of the golf ball. And he's actually been ironing it a little bit better this week. But you mentioned having a little bit more bounce. Kind of explain that to people, what that means, because we've seen players kind of work on pause drills out here on the range this week. So when you talk about bounce, what does that do for you, especially the higher up you get in the bag, close to the long irons and the driver?
Yeah, I like stability, like in everything, life. But I like the golf club to be stable. The golf club weighs 13 ounces. You're only swinging it through air. You're trying to hit an ounce ball that's not moving. This should help you, Charlie. Okay.
This is a show that was built for me. I'm just gonna a notepad over here.
Anyways, but when you see people swing it, they don't swing it like it weighs 13 ounces, and you got to keep it stable. And the best swings look really, really stable and really, really clean. I love clean.
And how do you, and maybe both you can kind of talk about this, we've seen some of these instructors with their players on the range more active and some that are just kind of standing back and observing. What's the field process like of a guy? I'm sure every, Patrick Cantlay's personality is different from Nelly Corda's, but how much are they inviting you in to, hey, help me get the club in this position, or I'm gonna wait till I'm invited, or I need to kind of jump in and say something if there's something that is off clearly to your eye?
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me the other night, like, what's the thing that you said the most in your life when somebody's hit a shot when you're doing a warm up? And I go, So when one's hit the right way, it's just and that's that. And I think you want to say that if you hit 80 balls, you want to say that 78 times. I think that's really helpful. And I've seen it overdone where people are trying to do too much. And I think we pride ourselves on knowing our players very well, what we can say to them, what we can't say to them. We're friends as well as I'm their instructor. So at the end of the day, we keep it pretty loose as far as that goes. Everybody has a different way of doing it, and there's a bunch of great teachers, and I'm proud to be somebody that gets to do it alongside all of them.
And Randy Smith's also a PGA of America member, and of course coaching Scotty Scheffler along with many other great players, you as well. And I've always noticed with Randy as well as yourself is that you both can view things from a different point of view. Oftentimes I think in today's day and age, we look at a lot of things down the line, and at times I'll see Randy go behind Scotty to see, how his back is working or how his legs are working. And then with you, I'll see you sometimes get out in front to the left to get a different vantage point. Can you just talk about, where you can get a different angle, where you can see something a little different that you might be able to help a player a little bit?
First of all, people use the word icon too much. Randy's an icon, and he's a special guy. We've been buddies for a long, long time. I love it, the fact that he's out here. He was, not out here as much, and then he's out here more, and he's feeling a lot better because he's older than me. And I feel like it's better to be the second oldest than not. But I like standing out in front of him and seeing delivery, and that doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't do that in every other sport. Like when you're coaching, you're watching back down, and I love to see everything delivered. So I'll start down the line, and then I'll go directly parallel, then I'll get out in front. Charlie, I haven't seen you play golf yet, but
we got lots of videos. Yeah, we can pull them up. We can do a whole show on that.
We don't have enough time.
You might not sneak out in front where I'm standing for Charlie.
No, I don't think so.
But anyways, I think that's the way that you want to see, and you want to see delivery on the way through. I love, if we're going to say, what do the great players do? All of them. They know where the golf club is at the top. They get their lower body out of the way one way or another, whether they're going towards the target or rerouting away from the target, and they're stable at impact. And I think you see that best from kind of looking back at them.
Jamie, we have time for one more here, and it would be a huge miss if we didn't ask you to make some form of a prediction about how the day is going to go today.
Right.
Whether it's a winning, maybe not a player, but a winning score, or is it going to come out of an earlier wave if the wind picks up later on? What do you think we're going to see here today to Wanamaker in terms of the person who ultimately hoists the Wanamaker Trophy?
First of all, this is what you guys do for a living. My deal's over there, but it's the closest tournament in history. We've never seen anything like this. When we finished the first day, I think we were in we're even par maybe. Is that we should be even par, one over par?
It was the lead at the end of the first round was 3 under par. There was a couple of 3.
And
it was 4 after Friday.
Yeah,
right?
and we were looking on the board, and Patrick goes like, "We're 3 out of the lead, and we're tied for 44th. What's going on here?" So it's hard to say. I will say that PGA has a win. I'm so proud to be a PGA member, and so proud of the PGA for what they did. They took this old golf course and they made it really, really difficult. And the members have been great here, and it's been a class act all the way around. So I'm proud of the PGA and all that they do.
Well,
Dan.
we're appreciative of you taking the time, Jamie. I know a lot of people just learned a lot, and I'm sure they're about to go play, their afternoon tee times. You're going to take a couple of these drills, try to go shoot under par. Maybe not win the major championship today, but at least maybe go break 70.
Smiley will send you a few videos too.
Yeah.
40, 50, just very reasonable amount of
That's
videos.
right.
you might
That's
go.
right.
So, thanks so
What's
much.
going to happen today? I'm going to get back out there, and Patrick's going to go, what did I do on 14 and 15 and 16? I'm like, I was giving Smiley another golf lesson. I had to leave.
And this is a good time to make sure we pop the PGA Championship app, because you can go watch all these shots
That's
in the
right.
app.
That's
So there
right.
you go. I got you covered.
Thanks,
Thanks a
bud.
ton,
Thanks,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate you taking
bud.
the
Thanks,
time.
bud. Thank you very much. Bye.
Par it he does. Gary Player finishes with a 1-over par score of 281 to become the winner of the 54th PGA Championship.
Scheffler wins in a runaway in the showdown at Charlotte.
Huge thanks to Jamie Mulligan for taking the time. I mean, I could just sit here and do like 3 hours just talking about the golf swing of that guy. It's a full-on nerd session.
I had one
clicked with
more
him.
I was going to ask him about it.
My only regret was, because as we see Chris Goddard up here on the range, is I wanted to get some thoughts on another really home-cooked swing.
Yeah.
I mean, Goddard, a guy who sets up open on his wedges. I was standing with him on 13 yesterday. He had pulled less than driver. I know it was a 3-wood or 5 or something. This ball could not have been more than 10 feet off the ground.
It's so cool, man. Just because he sets up left doesn't mean he's hitting a fade. That's my favorite part about it.
It's
Sometimes
interesting.
he'll hit a draw from aimed way left, and you just think, man, how does he do that? It's so homegrown. I think some players have kind of compared him a little bit to like a Lee Trevino, and kind of how he's kind of set up and aimed and just plays with so much feel.
How do you it's a hot topic around our house this week is the topic of alignment. And so I wonder how, when he's working with his instructor, when he's trying to kind of figure out how he's going to set up open, but is it just keeping shoulders close to target, or is it just sort of a feel he has or a swing pattern he has that allows him to still hit precision approach shots while setting up open to the target?
You know, it's so interesting, because I imagine for him, he probably gets too far left at times, and that's something that him and his coach probably have to, just keep him as neutral as possible, to where when he gets out on the course, he can just get comfortable and play to what he feels. But it's it's super interesting. Maybe it's a DNA thing, maybe it's a little bit of just how his body moves, right? It's obviously super efficient, because he's one of the most impressive players I've ever played with. Big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now is I got paired.
Please tell the story. Yes, it's so
I got
good.
paired with Chris Goddard. He had won a collegiate event and got an exemption into Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to play, not playing well. And Goddard is, an amateur, and he comes out, and over those first 36 holes, he's just about tied for the lead. And if I was caddying for him, he would have had a 6-shot lead. It's just the most impressive performance. And he had this drive on 13 that I'll never forget, that flew 300. And I tell you, it probably got 12 feet off the ground. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world am I not going to hit this OB across the road or in the water to the right? And this guy's just hitting these seeds. And at that point, I knew I'm going to let this guy go take the reins. You know, it's nice of me to pass it all on.
Really big of you, Smiley. It was really, really big of you to do that in that moment. You said something there that I love to expand on a little bit. Just his ability to change trajectory off the tee and all the different shots he has off the tee. So I as I've noted, at 13 he had that tee ball that was low, but then 12 he hit like this. It was with a driver. It almost like it rose, like it ballooned up. The sound it made coming off the face and kind of it just spun up high in the air and just sat soft, had a little wedge in. That is a level of creativity that like seems that not every player has. A lot of guys will have one sort of stock shape off the tee, but Chris seems to have a ton of them.
He definitely does. And you know what I like about the golf courses that he's won on this year are they're courses that you maybe wouldn't expect him to win on. You think of Chris as a big guy, a bomber of the golf ball, but he won at a Sony Open Wildlife golf course that you would think would be a player who's a guy that really just values getting the ball in the fairway and on the greens, much more of like a Corey Connors type of player who's just very efficient from tee to green. Not to say Goddard isn't, but it just goes to show is that his game continues to evolve year after year. And also he's on a very short list of guys who have gotten onto the PGA Tour and have won in every single season that he's been on tour. I think his confidence has continued to grow year after year. And I think this year in particular, you know, just being able to win a couple different times, also being in big pairings, right? You think about the Scottish Open last year, where Rory McIlroy he's paired with on Sunday, and he looks him eye to eye and he wins the golf tournament. And then also paired with Scotty Scheffler the week after he had won at Amex this year. And how did he play? And you know, the first time playing with Scotty Scheffler, well, he was leading the golf tournament after Thursday and beat him by 10. So there's just this swaggerness with Chris that it feels like the moment's not going to be too big for him. It wouldn't surprise me if he won a major championship before he made one of his first teams, right? The President's Cup, of course, is this year, and if he wins a major before he makes one of these teams, it wouldn't be shocking because it's been impressive.
It's interesting thinking about the composition of some of these groupings we're seeing, some of these pairings we're seeing as we get later in the day. Because to your point with Chris, his strong suit has been just that sort of mentality of, hey, I can get paired with the Scotty Scheffler in Phoenix and go out and beat him the first couple of days. And I just want to just look at this last pairing really quick, and it's an interesting one. You wouldn't expect Alex Smalley and Matty Schmid, given the fact they have not won on tour, to be the last two there with a chance at winning the PGA Championship. And I'm wondering if it's Alex Smalley or Matty Schmid paired with a Jon Rahm or a Rory McIlroy or a Xander Schauffele. I mean, is it almost nice for them to feel less pressure of the crowds? And I don't know. I mean, it's just interesting to look at.
It's going to be one of those days that it may be easy to just keep your eye on the leaderboard the whole day. But I think the guy who ends up winning this golf tournament, I think you'll hear about it at the end of the day, is that this player will say that, you know what, I just kept my head down. I just tried to play one shot at a time, not look at the leaderboard until the 14th hole to really see at that point where I stand. Because there's going to be some guys that go out and race and get, 3-4 under par through 7 holes, and you think, okay, this is the guy I got to go chase. But at that point, that person's going to feel the weight of the world on their shoulders and feeling like I have a chance to go win this golf tournament now. And oftentimes you see a stall. And so it's about, can you just stay one shot at a time, staying patient. And I think the player at the end of the day, and you're going to hear it in the press conference, is I didn't look at the boards. And normally I'm a big advocate of it. The only name I'd be curious about is if Alex Smalley gets going early. If he gets it somewhere around 7-8 under par, I think the 1 unders, the 2 unders, like you see here with Chris Goddard, probably need to pay attention. But the guys around 4 under, 3 under, I think you just got to, the Rorys and Xanders, you just got to play one shot at a time.
Chris Goddard up, going off at 12:45, paired for the second straight day with Hideki Matsuyama. Here's another one that I'd love to get your thoughts on. At 2:15, Aaron Rai playing with Ludwig Oberg. And the reason I want to ask you about it is Aaron is a player that kind of likes to go about it very methodically, very deliberately, and Ludwig's a guy that likes to really, get going, play quick. What do you think the dynamic of that group's going to be like?
That's a good point. Aaron Rai is not the fastest player, and sometimes in twosomes, you can really get a nice pace going. So it's interesting. Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele, both on the quicker side of players, especially Rory. If they get behind, right? If Ludwig's group gets behind, that would be something that that you never you never think about or you never expect. But sometimes when you get paired with somebody who's a little bit slower, you kind of mentally need to prepare that you're going to get put on the clock. And sometimes, I heard this story about Michael Phelps that he used to, before his big races, he would not only prepare for all the things that he wants to go right, but all the things that could go wrong. And I think that's such an interesting way to look at, a Sunday like today, where, of course, you just want to think about perfect golf shots and coming out of the center of the face. But sometimes it's not always that way. It's not a bad thing to picture yourself short-sighted, left at number 4, and thinking about, I'm going to go and be able to execute that shot. Now, I don't think you should think about bad shots the whole way around, but getting in the frame of mind to be able to accept bad shots, I think is important on a day like today.
Smiley, I am cooking in my cotton shirt, and the chef, Minwoo Lee, is cooking out here on the T-Mobile range. Let's talk about the week that Minwoo's had. Started off hot, and then obviously, not that he played poorly, but just stayed in that group of that bunch leaderboard with a chance to win this thing. He's currently tied for 12th at 2 under. He goes off at 12:55 p.m. alongside Max Grazerman. This is another guy that he's young. He's got a ton of talent. He hits the ball a long ways. I mean, not dissimilar in some ways to Chris Gotterup, even though Chris has won a few more times. But this would be huge for Minwoo Lee.
All these guys have a number in mind. They do. Every single player. They're able to read leaderboards. When you see the lack of experience in that final group, I think most of these players are expecting these guys not to go out and destroy the golf course. I think they expect them to shoot, at 2 under would be probably the most that these players would expect. Now, you have to react if these guys get going, but they know how difficult it is to be in a final group of a major. They know what the noises are like on a Sunday. And so with these two guys who've never been in this position before, you have to be, the guys that go out and try to create that momentum for yourself. But if I'm Minwoo, I'm thinking 5 under par, score 65 today, try to get to 7 under. Now, you're gonna have to be reactive, of course, to the leaderboard, but I think that's the mindset you need to be in.
Well, and then I watch some Minwoo shots here on the top tracer range. Looks like he's carrying something in the 230 to 240 range, and he is looks like we're shaping it kind of both ways here. When you're talking about having a number in mind, but also being able to react and make birdies, what's with some of these hole locations today? Their Saturday was more gettable. Today's maybe kind of living in between the Saturday pins and the Friday pins. If you're forced to chase here, do you have the opportunity to do so, or could you potentially get burned with where some of these hole locations are?
Well, it's just finding the fairways is so important. I'm kind of going through the golf course, looking at the leaderboard. That second hole is a par 4 that's a dogleg left. Wind's kind of going opposite of the dogleg, which is always tricky. And it's making sure you miss it on the correct side of the fairway. And if you hit in the right rough, you can run something up to the green at 2. But if you miss in the left rough, you're most likely fighting for par. And then there's a hole location at the 6th hole today, which it's a beautiful tee shot. If you get an opportunity to go to Aronimink or you're here today, make sure you go look at the 6th hole, because it's a beautiful tee shot with fairway bunkers that kind of line the right side and a dogleg right. It's been a very difficult fairway to hit too this week, but this hole location is basically in the right rough. And if you're not in the fairway, it's going to be tough to get it close. And if you miss it right, you're 100% playing out to the left and not going to have a good shot for birdie. But then also it's the 11th hole, and we've seen it this week. They didn't end up using that front left hole location. It was too dicey. They couldn't use it. There was too downwind. But they're using a pin that they use also on Friday, where we saw Jordan Spieth hit that shot. He got a little bit too close. It was downwind, and played that bump shot before the hill. And so that 11th hole is another one. You got to create an angle, hit the fairway, and if you're in the right rough, you're going to be, these par 4s, those 3 holes in particular, they're such key holes to me because they're birdie opportunities. And so I think the guys who win the golf tournament today are going to be the ones who put the ball in the fairways on the holes that matter with scoreable hole locations.
Smiley, we have a lot of top-tier tech out here on the T-Mobile range that is powered by T-Mobile's 5G network, and one of the cool things we have access to is radiant images. And so earlier in the week, we have a little something with Minwoo Lee, filmed here using, I believe it's 56 different cameras, and then taking him and placing him out on that 16th tee, the par 5 here at Aronimink. Let's take a look at this right here. I mean, this is look at this action slow. The thing I love about this is in the world of golf swing instruction and viewing, it's like you either have down the line or you have face on. You can pause it here and you can see every single position that Min Woo's in from a number of different angles.
I love that position right there. You can see the back of his left glove, flex at impact. And what I love about his golf swing as well, he has great width in his swing, and it's a little bit laid off at the top, but what he does not do from that position is try to get it back out in front of him. He continues to let it gather in the downswing as he gets to his front foot and rotates to his left. So here's another great angle.
Yeah.
That first, watch what it does here. So he's going to bump into his left side as he continues to rotate. But that club, there's so much width. Look at those arms.
Yeah, like with that right arm in particular, right?
And then there's no pulling. It's just, those arms are just, they're getting down to the golf ball due to the body rotation. And he's keeping that width, maintaining it, and that's why he hits it so hard.
And is it? I'm trying to do my best to learn from you this week. Is that hand position at the top pretty neutral? Not a ton of bowl, not a ton of cup.
He's definitely not on the cup side. He would be much more on the bowed flex side, but he does that a little bit at the top and in transition. And a lot of times when guys are big shallowing components, guys that really hit it far, they're not widening their right arm quite as much to me. Like his right arm, he's going to try to rotate a ton with his right shoulder through the ball. Sam Stevens is a good example. Christopher Rayton's another good example of that. But it's, he's got that right wrist is an extension, and then it's just tons of rotation. Strong lower half too. Just
insanely strong. What a cool look of this via the Radiant Images view with 56 different cameras of Min Woo Lee's swing. So let's get back to the range here, Smiley. And while we do that, just taking a look at today's scoreboard, and as we mentioned, Kurt Kitayama posted that 63, 7 under for the day. He's now at 3 under for the tournament, tied for 7th. There were a lot of good rounds out there. I mean, I think that there are definitely some players that have been over par, but we're seeing more players, at even par or under par than in past days, which I think indicates that it is out there for the taking for these guys that are chasing this afternoon.
Yeah, look at that. The final pairing going off at 235. Patrick Reed's another player who, after his round yesterday, I thought it was interesting. He said that, this place, you can't play scientifically. You have to play creative, and which is why a lot of people like Patrick Reed heading into this Sunday, especially the way he can putt it. It's such a tough board to decipher. I've never seen this many horses with a chance to go out and get through the finish line.
205 tee time is a man who's won 2 PGA Championships, 2012 and 2014. I really shouldn't omit the other guy in that tee time, Xander Schauffele, 2024 PGA champion. But we are now going to watch and listen to a little package featuring Rory and some of his winning moments as he lifted the Wanamaker Trophy twice.
Fantastic.
Stay there. Beautiful. 9-iron.
Beautifully played. Just another brilliant short-iron shot for Rory McIlroy. And we have a shining star at sunset.
.205 p.m. Smiley. Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, 3 under, currently tied for 7th. This feels like one where you talk a lot about just drafting off each other on days like this. You start making birdies, your partner starts making birdies, you get this thing rolling. I mean, I think we very easily could see the winner coming out of this group.
Oh, yes, 100%. And if you'd have told me that Rory had an amazing shot heading into Sunday, I would have told you.
Isn't that wild?
What did they find on this T-Mobile range on that Thursday afternoon? Because if you recall,
Spent 4 hours here.
he not only did he come here once, he came here twice after his round. So just amazing what they were able to figure out. He's played as good a golf as anybody outside of maybe Alex Smalley over the last couple days.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Rory 74 on Thursday, Xander 73 on Friday, and they're still right here in the mix. We're going to get out to a Mark Blackburn student. Speaking of professionals, PGA professionals, Justin Rose, who was quite literally had one shot left on Friday. He was at 5 over. He was one shot outside the cut line, sitting in the left rough short of the green at 9, which is the 18th hole he played that day. And he just chipped in for eagle to get to 3 over and make the cut. And then had a great day yesterday. Is sitting at 2 under, tied for 12th in this tournament. The thing I love about Justin Rose, and we talk about this a lot, is at his age, a lot of guys his age are getting written off. And he shows up, it feels like, every single major championship. We've seen him gave Rory a close call at the Masters in 2025. And here he is again, just in the mix. I know we'll get into a little bit his swing mechanics, what he's working on with. You can see Mark Blackburn here kind of stepping in after that shot, looking at launch monitor numbers. But just how impressive is it what Justin Rose keeps doing, you know, year in, year out at the age he is?
Aging like a fine wine. This guy, he's one of the better players in the world, and a lot has been made about just the equipment change that he's made over the last couple weeks, especially with how well he had been playing and not seeing those instant results the first couple weeks. And so sometimes it's just having that one break go your way, and making the cut, not only making it but chipping in to do it and making it by one extra shot, getting him a little bit closer to the lead to where he has a day like yesterday where he climbs up the leaderboard. But his golf swing it's one of my favorites. It's one that I try to copy more so than probably any other swing, because I think his swing is, from a DNA standpoint, we're similar builds. We hit similar shots. So I've always kind of envied some of the things that he likes to do. And he's super methodical, right? In everything that he does, so process oriented. And he does it in his pre-shot routines and this feeling he's trying to create in his golf swing. And Justin is a guy who will put an alignment stick down before every single round. And oftentimes it surprises me how far left of it is the target. He's a guy that's not necessarily dead square. His feet get a little bit left, and I think he gets it. At times he gets his arms running away too much through the golf ball to where it gets. His misses get a little bit too
delivering it right of the target.
Yeah, it gets a little bit too into out, and his misses will kind of be tug lefts with an overturn or out to the right. Now, what I love is that he sets the club beautifully on the way back. It's you couldn't do it any better than Justin does, and then from there it's just rotation all the way to the top, and he does that one rehearsal. Maybe he'll show it to us here in a minute, but he'll get behind the golf ball and he's trying to create this feel in the downswing to where his back stays to the target longer, his left shoulder isn't flying open. So think of a guy like a Dustin Johnson who's a huge rotator out of the top. Well, he has to do that because the face is shut, and if he doesn't, he's gonna hit it miles left or miles right. So for Justin, who's got a neutral club position at the top, he's trying to create depth in his arms in the downswing to where he keeps it to where he gets, he doesn't want to be too steep in how he delivers the golf club. So while he's doing this, he's also turning the club head down in transition. Now, when you watch his golf swing, these feels that he's trying to create, they look nothing like what he actually does. And so feel versus real is something that a lot of players and coaches work on, but nobody executes it quite as well as Justin as far as trying to over-exaggerate to get a feel. Who actually did it great was Tiger. Tiger was one that, he was getting underneath the plane. You would see him make short rehearsal swings, but also more so of a baseball swing, like much more horizontal versus getting his shoulders getting too vertical. So it's a great lesson for people that are trying to make changes. It's not easy to make a change, especially making the physical change is one challenge. The second challenge is making the mental challenge of reminding your mind of this is how we do it. And it's easy to want to go back to what you know and what feels comfortable. And so it's very important to create those slow rehearsal feels so that when you're out playing, you're at least exaggerating it to where it's getting closer to what you're trying to create.
And on the topic of equipment changes, he's 11th in field this week in strokes gained approach. So if you're at home and you're watching this and your local PGA professional fitted you for some new clubs and it takes time to get used to, just give it some time. Go back, get another lesson. I'm sure it'll come around. We're looking out here at Justin Rose's pairing today, 1:25 p.m. He's playing alongside Joaquin Niemann.
Good day yesterday.
Fourth in strokes gained off the tee, sixth in strokes gained approach. He struggled a little bit with putting, but Joaquin's another guy where, if you want to put him in the Minwoo Lee category, he's been around for a little bit longer than Minwoo or like a Chris Goddard, but a guy that bombs the ball, amazing ball striker. But it feels like we talk about him every single major championship. This guy be a dark horse candidate, but just hasn't necessarily had a great finish other than maybe I want to say he was top 10 at Quail Hollow last year for the PGA. And that might be the best finish he's had in the recent years. What does Joaquin need to do today to really kind of put himself on the map there?
He needs to give himself a lot of putts inside of 10 feet and find a way to get him down. And Joaquin's an excellent ball striker. He's capable of doing that. Probably one of the few guys that can give themselves multiple good looks inside of 10 feet out there. His biggest problem is putting. It always has been. It hasn't been a detriment to where it hasn't allowed him to win many tournaments in his career, but that would be the one thing I look for today. You got to have a putter. If you don't have a putter today, you're not winning.
Yeah, and he was. I was correct there. He finished tied for 8th last year at Quail Hollow in the PGA Championship. We're not going to get a look at his action on the range. He's got really unique action where he kind of gets that like side bend to the max, right? Kind of gets underneath it.
I think many players, PGA Tour players, that have been stuck in their golf swings, they'll go to this new modern way of how you swing the golf club and try to create that. Yeah, I think Jordan. He talked a little bit about trying to do a little bit of this when he was struggling with his game, but what Joaquin does in his swing, and I tried to do it, and I'm not great at it. It's similar to Kitayama, but he gets not a ton of hand depth at the top, but what he does get is that early rotation. The club gets vertical at the top, so more stood up, and then from there, that club all he's doing is that club is getting behind him. He's shallowing, and my lower back hurts looking at it, but he's getting that pelvis to push forward and his chest to be back behind his pelvis through the shot. And he's an absolute striper. As you see that rehearsal there, he's trying to get his pelvis is getting forward, the chest is back. Like think of the PGA Tour logo. If you've ever looked at it before, it's kind of an over-exaggerated version of this.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way that they used to swing it back to the day, the reverse C, and that's kind of the feel and the look. And the way to get to that position is you can't be out in front of it. He's not, and the club is in a position that's shallow to where he can deliver it and just hit the middle of the face more often than not.
So for a guy like Joaquin or anyone who is a phenomenal world-class ball striker, but putting is a struggle, is a week like this where you're getting some tough hole locations better or worse for a guy like that? Because you can make the argument that there are a lot of great putters this week that we've seen struggle because it's difficult for everybody, and it kind of brings the rest of the field kind of back down to that baseline.
This isn't really fit for Joaquin today on a Sunday. Watch him now go out and shoot 600 and win this golf tournament.
We'll cut the clip. Make sure we
we'll cut the clip. Make sure we
collab.
cut that.
Yeah.
You got that, folks?
Good.
Yeah, back in the trucks. I just think this is such a course that it's going to require you to make, a couple 10-footers today.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen enough over the years that he's won plenty of times, but just in major championships, this is an excellent opportunity for Joaquin today to not only prove me wrong, but prove a lot of people wrong that his putter can win him a major championship. And we just haven't seen it yet. He's clearly done that plenty of times on the tour he plays on, but that's the one thing I'm looking out for today.
As we continue to watch Joaquin here on the range, Scotty, 1 under through 3.
There you go.
He's moving.
Well, when he was
He's
warming
moving.
up earlier, his last shot went to a foot of a wedge. I was like, that's a birdie. He's already one under on the range.
Man, I just can't wait to get out there and walk it today because it is really anyone's ball game, and it's gonna be fun popping around from group to group. Whether it's a Scotty Scheffler making a charge,
We'll have to get some of those like icy cool towels for you out there today.
I'm going to need icy cool towels. I'll take anything. We were in Club Magenta last night, and it was a smooth 54 degrees. I need to go back there, pop in there with my T-Mobile people, just get iced down.
You'll have that going on, then you'll be bobbing for apples in there trying to get your trying to get your forehead to cool off, man. It's
magenta apples. You guys let me know when you get the T-Mobile Apple Bob going. I'll be there with bells on. All right, we got to get to another fun aspect of the show we've enjoyed the past couple of days. Smiley, text us your swing with the help of T-Mobile's 5G network. Everyone's been texting us the vertical, the down the line, face on swing videos. Use the number 564-999-8248. And quite literally, we're on camera right now. It is coming to this phone. We were sitting here yesterday. We probably got 13 texts in the span of 2 minutes after asking for these swings. And Smiley roasted a few of them.
Yes. And we want to compliment.
Oh, we got one right here.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Think it's just on setup alone. Think it's going to be a compliment or a roast?
Well, the camera angle's tough, so it's hard to get a great sense of what's going on here.
Camera angles.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Whoa. Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. Clearly not right-eye dominant.
That's an all-timer. Clearly not right-eye dominant.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
I mean, he legitimately takes his eye off the golf ball.
Little John Daly there, though. Had that long.
Okay, I'm trying to find something good here.
Yeah, a lot of lag, maybe. Can we give him some credit for lag? And that is no cup in his wrist.
There is.
I'm working hard for my man here.
Hold on. You see, that's where it gets cupped. Okay, this is what I would tell him.
Okay.
Shorten your golf swing. It needs to be. It needs to stop right there. Stop. Done. No. Don't keep going. Now we're in trouble. Now we're steep.
We need to get my man on the radiant images set up. And just freeze him right there.
Yes.
And then just overlay.
I mean, he's got the John Rahm look from there, and then it loses it all. So that would be my advice: is stop about feel like it's a 3/4 swing, and then from there, I think it'll start cleaning up a lot of things because it gets across the line, cupped, and now he's getting steep on the way out, trying to get rid of it all.
Definitely not right-eye dominant. Love that. Keep texting them in 564-999-8248. We're headed out to I'm glad the producers are doing this next one for me because we've had so many LSU Tigers on the show this week. We're finally getting a North Carolina Tar Heel here. My guy, Ben Griffin.
Benny Bombs.
Benny was out there. I was out there at the 18th yesterday watching Ben Griffin and Ryan Gerard, two Tar Heels, tee off on the 18th tee. And he said something after his tee shot that had Ryan Gerard just cracking up. So they had some fun out there yesterday, and Ben played good.
What's his DJ name?
Benny Beats.
Benny Beats.
DJ
we got Benny
Beats.
Bombs and Benny Beats. He was the DJ of the North Carolina team van on the way to the golf course. I don't know if he's got the AirPods in today and what he'd be listening to, but I know he likes to still mix. And
he does.
I think he recently sent one of his mixes to Keith, and Keith was like, "Don't ever send me another."
That is so good. Yeah, he is a very interesting human being and one who is played his way into contention this week. 2 under, tied for 13th, going off at 105. Now, Smiley, talk about his action because he's got like this follow through where he's really showing his chest all the way to the target.
Yeah, he does. You know, his swing at times it's short enough, which is why he's able to keep his arms out in front of him in the downswing, because it gets a fraction across the line. But if you look at Ben's physique, man, he is absolutely changing his body for the better over the last couple years.
Creatine guy, big creatine guy.
That, and he's worked really hard with a trainer to help him put on weight. Many years ago he's on the vegan plan, so really trying to get things in his body that are going to fuel him and help him really gain speed. And if you look at how far he gets the golf ball now. He's one of the longer players where I would have said 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said Ben's just, kind of an average driver of the golf ball from a distance standpoint. But now he's a guy that can get to mid-180s ball speed, no problem. So for PGA Tour players that, live in that kind of average distance area, like Ben's a great case study of a guy who I think changed his career for the better by chasing distance, but also doing it in the correct way.
That's another great story of a guy who's now vegan. What was it? He and Ryan Gerard used to have a steak night, a tradition. Every time they did steak night on Wednesdays, they played great the next day.
That's
of course,
right.
maybe he's getting like a portobello mushroom steak these days, something of that nature. Looks like he's flat carrying this club, Smiley, 220, 230-ish, 239 right there with 153 ball speed. Now he's switched clubs. He's got a wood in his hand here.
It's to be a 7-wood. He's had this 7-wood for quite some time. So I'm interested to see the apex of this, to see how high it goes.
Is he more of a drawer or cutter of the golf ball?
He can do both. He actually hits his 3-wood higher than any.
Look at this ball
it's
alongside the moon.
It's crazy.
Apex of 144 feet, as you can see here on the top tracer range.
Yeah, and that's where you think about, where are you going to hit this? You can hit it in some par 5s, this club. But looking at some of the par 3s today, the 7th hole is I should say the 8th hole is playing 216. Not going to use it on that hole. But 14's 206, not using it there. 17's playing short. So actually, he may not even use his club today, but at least he's striping it on the T-Mobile range.
Well, it is pretty interesting. You're looking at 166 mile per hour ball speed at the 7-wood, and that's like a lot of people's drivers out there. Yeah.
Well, I guess it is. It's hot enough on number 9 that 7-wood might be the play. If you get it going on 16 today too, 7-wood could be an option. But think about this: these 7-woods out of the rough are always a nice play. When you get a thick lie in the rough, hitting a 4 or 5 or 3 iron is very difficult because the grass gets caught in between the club and the ball. Where a 7-wood, it's much easier to get steeper on it, where it almost kind of glides on top of the rough and you get down and kind of pop the ball out.
DJ Benny Bees is just being a good friend of the show. He said, these guys want to see some moonball 7-woods. I'll give it to him, whether or not I'm going to hit it today. So thanks to you, Ben Griffin.
Yeah, his game is all about, if he's accurate with the driver today, he's an excellent wedge player. So a player that's not afraid to go make birdies. Don't be surprised if you see Ben Griffin at 6 under par through 9 holes today. Not in relation to his score today, but 6 under par on the leaderboard.
On the day, yeah. And let's take a look back at that leaderboard as we have just a few minutes here before we turn it over to Alex O'Loughlin to take us home here. The closing edition of the PGA Championship Rain Show powered by T-Mobile. Harris English off to a hot start, 2 under through 3, which puts him at 3 under for the tournament and tied for 7th, the same number that Kurt Kiyama posted after that 7 under round of 63 today. We're seeing some movement here. JT 2 under through 9. It's guys are. I think whether or not this puts these guys into contention, it's an indicator that there is scoring out there to be had today to Ronald Make.
Yeah, and I look at the top 3 guys on the leaderboard we see here. Alex Smalley, Matty Schmidt, and Nick Taylor, all in the top 4 in putting. Alex Smalley's at close to 7 strokes gained putting to the average. So a lot of these times, over a course of 72 holes, you eventually fall back a little bit to the mean. And so, if these guys fall a little bit back from an average standpoint, you have to look at players that are really striping the golf ball. And so when you look at the iron play and you see Ludwig Oberg and his excellent iron play this week, 2nd in strokes gained approach, I think he's the guy that I would probably put as my favorite on the board today.
You said Ludwig?
Yes, but I'm also concerned about his putter. So if he's able to have a day with the putter, I love the way that Ludwig has played the back 9, and if he's able to hit those shots like he has all week, Ludwig Oberg might be lifting up his first major championship in that big old Wanamaker trophy.
I'm looking at John Rahm, 9th in strokes gained off the tee, 1st in strokes gained around the green, and I know his putting is lagging behind a little bit, but just hit it to where every putt is a left to right breaker, and he'll just hoop all day long. That is the John Rahm special.
Yeah, I mean, that was my pick to start the week with John Rahm, so I'm going to keep riding with it. Rory McIlroy, what a story it would be if he shot +4 in that first round and goes on to win this championship. And 2, I think it would be a huge nod to the T-Mobile range back here, because this is where it was found.
That's right.
On Thursday afternoon.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Rory McIlroy, after that opening 74, 4 over, came right here to the T-Mobile range, powered by T-Mobile's 5G network, and just grinded. Just grinded until 6 p.m. and got it done. We're going to look here at Jon Rahm's pairing as we get ready to turn this show over to Alex O'Loughlin. And Jon Rahm is playing alongside, if I can find it here, Nick Taylor at 225.
Right. He's the one guy of the 4 players at the top of the board that you would say wouldn't have as much experience, but Nick Taylor, when I say as much experience, more so major championship experience. Nick Taylor, he has shown in big time moments that he's not afraid to go and win, and so he is, I think, a scary player. Looking at this leaderboard, I think most guys can kind of anticipate how Smalley might play, how Schmidt might play, or even maybe even an Aaron Rai. But Nick Taylor is a sneaky name at the top of that leaderboard that would not surprise, especially with his precision and accuracy, find a hot putter and potentially move his way up to the top of the leaderboard.
We've had a ton of fun with you all week here from the PGA Championship Range Show, powered by T-Mobile. A little bit, I'm excited to go watch the action, but a little bit of Sunday Scaries leaving the T-Mobile range. Huge thanks to our friends at T-Mobile for having us here this week. And we're not done with this show. We're turning it over to Alex O'Loughlin now. She's going to take you home, get you all ready to watch the final round here of the PGA Championship and see someone hosting that Wanamaker Trophy at the end of the day. So we're signing off for now. We got Alex hopping in next.
A trained killer when it comes to golf. Winning his third.
137.
Oh, yes. That's the way to do it with style. Scotty Scheffler wins in a runaway in the showdown at Charlotte.
Thanks to Charlie and Smiley for a great first hour, and here we are moving into hour 2 of our PGA Championship Range Show, powered by T-Mobile. There's our beautiful Aronimink Golf Club. Ryan Adams, or as now our comment section is calling you, Telestrator Rye. So you've earned the title.
Okay. I think I've hopefully earned their trust with my Telestrator skills. Not quite maybe John Madden, Tony Romo level, but excited to dive in again today.
You're going to dive in. We're first going to take a quick look at Patrick Reed, who I think if anyone can bulldog their way up to the top of the leaderboard, it's probably this guy, and it's going to be an exciting day. We saw Rory say that he would be very excited to be watching this if he was a fan.
Yeah, it's going to be all-time PGA Championship Sunday. We got a ton of people within a couple shots of the lead. Lots of big names, maybe some names people aren't familiar with. You'll dive into some PGA coaches coming up here, which we're really excited about. Patrick Reed, though, great short game, major champion. Wouldn't be surprised to see him near the top today.
Yep, we've got a packed leaderboard. There's major champions lurking, plenty of newcomers trying to change their lives, and there is no certainty of who will be raising the Wanamaker Trophy.
Right.
So, Ryan, who do we have first for our Telestrator?
Yes. Okay, let's dive right in here. Telestrator Rye in full effect. We have none other than 2024 PGA champion Xander Schauffele. We might have, if you were tuning in yesterday, you might have seen yesterday we did a Hideki Matsuyama Telestrator from the rough. different from the normal down the line tee box shot, but we're going to do this one with Xander here from the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla. Kind of an epic shot, kind of a shot that can go wrong a lot for a lot of different reasons, right? As you can see, his feet in the bunker, got kind of a weird stance here, and the club is a little bit flat, so it's harder for him to make solid contact because he's got a lot of things that he has to deal with. So one of the ways he's going to try to deal with that is by aiming to the right. But actually, his target is here, and he's going to be hitting a nice swooping draw, trying to avoid that big miss to the right or even overcooking it too far to the left into the fans. And as you saw with Xander on that shot, he ended up with a chip, was able to get it up for the birdie and won the championship, right? So as we go through here, you'll see he's what I like about Xander's swing is he keeps himself really upright and stable. There's no wasted motion on the back. There's no up down. There's no excessive spine tilt or anything, and that's really important for those at home when you're struggling maybe with uneven lies. You really need to stay stable and swing around your body versus swinging up and down, because that's where you can get into some trouble. So as we go back here, you can see that Xander loads up. We've talked about full turns all week, Alex. You'll see that all today with everyone. And then what he does is he stays really stable down through impact, and what I really like is right there, he fully releases through. And I think a lot of times when people are in, or golfers are in, uneven lies or tough shots, they kind of get a little nervous at impact. Once you make your way down, you have to fully commit to the shot. And you can see that with Xander. Ball goes to the right, but then then it starts to curve left, and he ends up on that left side of the fairway here at Valhalla. So a lot of things to like about Xander's swing. I think the thing to take away, the biggest thing, is probably just staying in the moment, making sure that you know where to miss, you're taking that into effect, and you know where your target is at all times too. So,
and I love seeing that beautiful Valhalla clubhouse. That's a home club for me, so very special to see it, especially have a champion like Xander.
Yeah, and one more thing that I'll just point out, when he comes through here on the downswing, you may think, oh, wow, this shot is going to the right, and this is going to be going out to where he's not supposed to be. But he's cleared out okay on the downswing, and he's stayed stable enough to where all he needs to do now from this position is release through the ball, right? And I think a lot of the times, I was mentioning that earlier, a lot of times amateurs just kind of hold up their swing a little bit. And I think if they can think about shaking their hands with the target, that's a good thought to have as you go through the release, is if you can get all the way through and you're like shaking the hands with the target a little bit, that helps you release through the ball and get to your target, versus maybe if you stopped and you weren't able to get all the way through the ball, you might run into some trouble. So another thing to learn from Xander there.
All
and
right,
just an awesome, sick, cool draw for the golf sickos like me at home. Like, that was just an amazing shot to see him pull off in person. Yeah.
So I spent some time with Gil Hance earlier in the week, part of the restoration team taking over of Aronimick, and we've got 174 bunkers taking up 200,000 square feet.
Yep.
So
and a lot of different bunkers too.
You're going to have some opportunities there to show off a shot like that from Xander. But I think what was interesting that Gil said is we will see some of those Open Championship type style bunker shots where balls in the bunker, feet are out, reverse, just like we saw with Xander.
Yeah, exactly. So if you face this shot at home, or maybe you're in a tricky lie, maybe feet aren't in the bunker, but you're faced with a different type of lie, you can see Xander's got obviously feet in the bunker. Sometimes taking a little bit wider stance helps with stability, and it keeps you from losing your balance and losing the power that you might have or might expect with this shot. So he probably has, you can't see his feet in this one, but probably has a little bit of a wider stance. He's going to play a little bit of a power draw too. So just trying to feel that swinging out to right field. But when it comes to the uneven lies, and you might see that today on the broadcast, is players faced with some tricky shots, try to make sure that you have a little bit more stability going through the ball, and I think that'll help.
So we've got some more swings as well to go through. Moving over to an amateur swing. We've been doing Text Us Your Swing all week, so thank you for everyone participating in that. It's been fun to see all the different golf swings that
we've We've had golfers playing in this tournament. We've had golfers not playing in this tournament. We've had mascots from the Philadelphia sports teams. We've had them all. Now we're going to get right into one of the texture swing submissions from Trell. And I went back and forth with Trell a little bit before we stepped on here, and said he's struggling with slicing his drivers and his fairway woods, right? And so I think when we look at his swing here, we'll focus first on this part.
And here we have Trell just paired up nicely next to Rory McIlroy.
Yep. So Trell, if you're watching, not a bad comparison here. Well, you might not want to be next to Rory McIlroy, but we're going to do it anyways. So sorry about that. But Trell, if you're watching, or whoever is watching here, really important thing. So if you're struggling with your fairway woods and drivers and slices, I've got the hands highlighted here, and just you can see that he's choked down a little bit on it, and his hands are a little bit too close. So sometimes when your hands are a little bit too close to your body, it's hard for you to make a good takeaway. And we'll see here on his backswing, he kind of gets a little quick, and then he kind of gets stuck behind him, right? But then he has to somehow reroute the top of his backswing. And again, when your hands are that close to your body, it's hard for your hands to get through the ball, right? And for that 1-2 punch of the hips clearing out and then the hands to come through to really match up. So that's why you might be struggling a little bit with the driver and fairway wood slices. You can see here, the butt end of this club is supposed to be pointing at the ball, right? So if it's pointing a little bit inside, he's coming in a little bit too steep probably. That's a little bit of that over-the-top move. So Trell, try to think about the next time you're on the tee box, swinging out to right field. Actually, a great example of that was that Xander shot, right? He was swinging out to right field and then making that release through the ball to get that power draw going. And so I think, Trell, if you see this image, try to make sure that you get a little bit, keep your hands a little bit further away from the ball, or from your legs at address, and then make a little bit. That'll help you make a better takeaway, and then we can get this position right here and have that butt end of the club pointed at the ball instead. So.
And I think this is also such a great reminder of what we've been talking about all week long with these best players in the world, that checking the fundamentals is always going to be most important. You get to the range, check setup, check ball position, check where the hands are falling, because there's great checkpoints for all of those.
Yep, and in the biggest moments, like you'll see today, someone's going to win the PGA Championship, obviously, and the person that does that has their fundamentals in check when it matters most, right? And when you're under pressure and when you're under the gun, Trell here is on this downhill par 3. Maybe he's trying to break a scoring barrier here at some point, or make a birdie for the first time, or whatever it is. And I think if you can have your fundamentals in check before you pull the trigger, that's the most important thing.
All right, quickly before we let you go, I just want to get your pick. Who do you think could get it done today? There's just so many at the top of the leaderboard that you're gonna have to pick your favorite.
Yeah, I'm torn. Like, I want to see Scotty repeat, obviously, but I think it would be so fun to see Rory continue on his pursuit of the Grand Slam. So I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy. I think, he had that range session earlier on in the week, and I think maybe he's found a few things. We were out there watching him with some of the PGA coaches that you'll be talking to, and I think maybe he's found that gear that he always refers to, that birdie making gear. So wouldn't be surprised to see him hosting the Wanamaker tonight.
All right, all great options there. Thanks to Ryan Adams holding down the T-Mobile Telestrator for us. And let's toss it over to Xander Schauffele for his winning moment from 2024.
Perfect. 3 for 3 out of the greenside bunkers this week.
That was perfection.
Win it all.
Xander with victory at Valhalla.
Well, now we're joined with another PGA of America golf professional, Erica Larkin. So excited to have you on the show. And listen, there's a lot of different ways to get into golf. You're a Queens girl.
Yes.
Tell me quickly kind of about your journey getting into the game.
Queens to greens, that's what I always say. I grew up in Jackson Heights, ended up in Virginia to go to James Madison University, played collegiately, and then got myself into coaching and never looked back. I've settled in Virginia, built an academy for myself called True Swing Golf Academy, and we've got programs and coaches all over the country. So being a PGA member has taken me very far, and to the home of Club at Creighton Farms in Aldie, Virginia for the last 11 years. But it's been a great run, and I'm looking to continue to just coach up more golfers all over the world.
All right, a lot of different ways to get into the game, and now here we are sitting at the PGA Championship. We've got Rory McIlroy on the range. He's looking for that second major in a row, which would be pretty exciting to see. But what do you like about his game, and what do you expect to see from him today?
Obviously, Rory's a pro in all senses of the word, in that he has so much experience. He has obviously championship level wins, and he's coming off of a huge win here from the Masters this year. So he's got some momentum going into it. It's interesting, I heard his comments about what he felt about the golf course and the setup, and so it's just interesting to hear his take. And maybe he can be the one that breaks through and pulls away from the pack today, because he gets on a birdie run and he gets some momentum. It could definitely happen. We've seen when that putter gets hot that he can certainly hit it close, has amazing recovery ability if he does get in trouble, which out here it's pretty wide open, so I guess he won't have to probably pull on that part of his game as much today like he did in the Masters. But it's going to be great to see what he can do on the greens, and hopefully he can post a great score today and be right there for contention.
Now, you mentioned setup, and something that has kind of evolved from Thursday, Friday, now into Sunday. So we've already got Kurt Kitayama. He's in with a nice little number there, 63, which is amazing. So how's the course playing different, and what did you notice?
I walked around out there this morning, and I saw a lot of very tight tucked pins on edges of greens where there's immediately slopes falling off right next to it. So I think holding those greens where it's firmer and where it's just obviously hot today, so everything's drying out, is going to be a real test of their ability to have accuracy to hit the greens in the right segments and quadrants, so that they can hold those pin placements and have a chance for some birdie putts. That's the only way they're going to be able to pull away from the pack. But it's very, very firm and fast out there today.
We've got the top tracer as well, just to take a look at some of Rory's numbers.
Sure.
What are you noticing? What's important to you, and what's a number that has to be on point?
So landing angle is a big deal, and we can kind of look at that through apex, so 111 feet in the air, and of course launch. So I think he's hitting an iron at 26 degrees of launch. That sounds pretty good to me. And so to have that ball coming in at a steeper angle means probably more spin, more hold ability on these greens that are crowned and firm, and trying to stick to these tight pins. So I think that works in his favor for sure. Also, he's just smooth. He's got that rhythm, and so to pull off the kind of club head speed that he has, where he's getting ball speeds of 105 miles an hour with an iron there, and to be that smooth about it, he can handle under pressure and deliver that club consistently. It's awesome.
All right, so we know we want the ball to land the right way, good spin control coming in, but we look at being on the greens. Obviously, for the PGA Tour players, your kind of highest make rate is going to be that uphill right to left footer, and it's going to be all about where you leave yourself on the green. So how are you doing that when there's kind of a small room for error on the course?
Yeah, I know. Always be below the hole on a course like this if you can. And so thinking that one shot ahead as you're creating your strategy for your approach shot is huge. I know I was seeing some analysis about really how the middle of the green is a pretty good place to aim on a lot of these, just because it helps funnel to the various quadrants and pin placements. So I guess when all else fails, aim in the middle. But it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Staying below the hole is huge, and maybe even on those chip shots, being able to miss in the right zones where you have an uphill chip shot too. Even if it means being in the rough, would be probably a better option than being above the green. I saw a lot of the pros working today on distance control, putting drills out there on the green. They were all just barely hitting a lot of these downhill sliders to make sure they were practicing those, but they were also hitting a lot of 5, 10, 15, 20-foot putts through some target zones to really dial in their distance control.
And then with preparation going into not only a major week, but a course like Aronimink, I don't think the players even quite knew what they were in for, just from some of their comments. But we've got guys like Wyndham who say they rely very heavily on their caddies for certain information. Other guys who they really want to be in control of what they know about the golf course. So what's that preparation look like ahead of time, and how far in advance are they doing it?
I think a big consideration is how many times have they ever played here, regardless of in tournament golf, because I know there haven't been too many championships that have happened here over the last number of decades. But, you know, if they don't have that firsthand experience of having played here in tournament conditions before, I would imagine those players are relying on the caddies more for instincts and doing research and whatever homework they did early in the week on what was going on with not only their own game, but other players' games and past years where things have happened there. So the more rounds I'm sure that they've been able to rack here, that would pay off at this point. But prep would be obviously course management, using strategy to map out where they feel those miss zones are, lines of sight off the tee, and then sticking with your game plan is a big deal. Like, not just because it's Sunday all of a sudden changing your game plan. Or do you take a risk? You know, that is a conversation between a player and caddy that has to happen. Do you play it safe until Sunday and then just go for it? It's a very tricky relationship to manage, for sure.
Where would you need to be on the leaderboard to take a more aggressive approach?
Oh gosh, I would say getting into the back nine on Sunday, if you're within 2 to 3 shots, you got to go for everything, I would say, just because everybody is going to have that same mindset of needing to try to get one more on the field. So if you don't take a little risk at that point, you're probably going to leave some shots on the table and you're going to wish you hadn't. So I would say at that point, you know, going into the last day, it's time to start shooting a little bit more aggressively on the back nine and taking those risks.
And now we look at a guy like Alex Smalley, who after first 3 rounds, he's got a 2-stroke lead going into Championship Sunday. How aggressive is a guy like him when you're being chased?
We'll see, I guess. I mean, he did well yesterday coming back, had a great finish after a little bit of a rough start, so he kind of proved himself there. So depending on how he feels going into today, if there's a little nerves because first time in this position in a major, it's a big deal. Maybe he can do the same thing he did yesterday, which is settle in and find his rhythm. He's got incredible rhythm, and so to just let that coast through the back nine and try to stay in his little bubble and play his game is probably the best thing he can do, because the stage is big, the lights are bright, like, you know, people are watching, and that energy is, I'm sure, something that you can spin to a positive in a way if you're that type of player. He seems like he's very even keel, so I imagine he's just going to kind of like play his game and stay in his bubble. That's how I visualize him.
Alex Smalley, only player to have all 3 rounds so far under par, which is so impressive from a guy that we did not know would be
not small at all
at the top of the leaderboard. We'll take a look at his pairing too, playing with Matty Schmid, German, went to Louisville. I'm excited for this pairing, and I feel like a lot of these young guys have been giving some credit to their playing partners too. Like Maverick McNeely said he really enjoyed playing with Padraig Harrington, which, you know, if you grew up watching Patty, obviously such an inspiration.
Sure.
And then Alex said he enjoyed playing with Mav. So I like seeing that kind of camaraderie, and I think it shows that if you're comfortable not only with your game but with your pairing, that can go a long way too.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to coach a club professional, Larkin Gross, in 3 PGA Championships now. He qualified for the Corebridge team of 20 3 times. And so being inside the ropes with him and seeing how the pros, the regular guys, are interacting with PGA professionals is incredible. They make them feel so welcome. And I imagine if you're a bit more of a rookie on tour, it's kind of the same thing from week to week. Like, you set up practice rounds, you get to know them, and that makes you settle in. I also noticed that a lot of these young names coming up right now on this leaderboard graduated around the same time in college, so you have to imagine they've come head to head and met each other in the past, and so to have that camaraderie amongst themselves from their collegiate time, you would imagine will settle them and carry into what they know about each other, and to make them feel more comfortable, as if they're maybe feeling a bit nostalgic about playing together from their college days.
All right, we'll take it back to the veteran, Rory McIlroy, on the range, see what he's working on, what he's getting up to, as he's got to chase up the leaderboard to make something happen. I thought it was nice to hear him say after Thursday's round, it could have gone either way. You didn't know what you were going to get, and he just doesn't quit. Spent a lot of time on the range after, put a lot of hours of work in, and he found that feel. And how difficult or how easy can it be to find a feel when you're lacking one?
Sometimes it's just as easy as touching it with your coach and having those gentle reminders of those few things that you need to always go back to. And in the moment of getting a little flustered or feeling like you've lost it, just having that short list of things that you know are your tendencies that you tend to fall back into is a good reminder. A lot of times these guys, it's not major things, it's just to your point, like catching a feel and remembering maybe it's just that little setup alignment or a trigger move when they're taking it away, a sense of tension or rhythm that they're looking for. So to put themselves back in a moment where they did play well, or a coach saying, hey, remember, like this is what worked well for you when you played in this moment. Let's go back to that highlight reel and try to bottle what we had then. It does help to meditate on that and then come back out and have a fresh head and say, all right, I already know how to do this.
Rory McIlroy, first round, 74, 67, 66. Getting better every day, and today would be the day to go low.
He's trending.
I mean, we've seen some low scores already coming in, so it's possible.
Yep. I'm amazed at watching the players today on the range. It's Sunday at a PGA Championship, and how many of them are truly doing drills. They've got sticks out, they've got alignment rods out, noodles out, all kinds of rehearsals happening. So, you know, they're all catching a feel, and they're all going back to those basic things that are obviously creating parameters for them and motion. He's obviously looking at some numbers right now. He's looking at what's coming up on the machine there to try to see maybe which way he's trending on potentially a path or a face number or ball flight, how he's flighting it today, so how big of a curve is he playing. I'm sure he's looking at some of those things. So even though he's not technically doing a drill right now, he's obviously calibrating what his ball flight is. And I think for some guys it looks a little bit more like a tangible drill, and for some it looks a little bit more like this, where they're analyzing what their ball flight's doing and not just feeling it.
Doing those drills just on a Sunday, it's not even necessarily to change anything, it's maintaining.
It's like maintaining, calibrating, going back to knowing that that's a safe drill for you. That gives you the feel that you've been working on the range. And just do what you do in practice. They always like to say, practice like you play so you can play like you practice. So if you can bring the course to the range, but also the range game to the course, make them one a little bit more the same. I mean, don't think for a minute that, you know, Cam Smith had some alignment sticks back behind him. I'm sure on a practice swing, if he's in between or waiting on a tee box, he's probably visualizing those practice sticks right around him, thinking about swinging up the plane. It doesn't go away. It's still going to be very present with them because it's something that's a visual, a feel, and obviously is settling them on the range, so why wouldn't they bring that with them onto the golf course? So 100%, however they do it, they're taking that range game to the golf course.
And Erica, we're lucky to have you with us right now because we've been doing Text Us Your Swing, and we've had someone send in their swing that I just want to get kind of your perspective on, see what you like, see what maybe they could improve on. I know with some of this too, you want the context of what's going on, so I think this will just be interesting to get first looks, first takeaways.
Okay. Got a gentleman here with his iron. Looks like he's hitting. All right, so first thing I notice, if we look at the setup position, he's got a very strong grip position, meaning his hands are twisted right on the club, and we can see the closed face at the top. So he's somebody that doesn't have a lot of wrist set because of the way his wrists are. He's holding the club. It kind of blocks that wrist hinge a little bit, and he doesn't have a very long swing, so it looks a little short, but it's nice and wide. I'll give him that. So because the face is closed, I imagine that he's probably going to have a left miss or have to block a left miss, and we can see through impact he's holding on a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, if he's hitting it well and he's square in the face, it's an okay pattern. People play from a strong grip position. It helps stabilize the face if you're willing to hold on. But the thing I would warn this golfer is that you're probably adding tension to be able to manage this. So if you want to have a little softer, more relaxed feel, a little bit more effortless power, especially as we're trying to get into creating club head speed with some wrist action, especially with a club like driver, you know, it's probably in your best interest to neutralize your grip a little bit and soften those wrists, and let's get a little more free release through impact. Not to say that it would expose a different ball flight, but just a little more whip in his swing. It looks a little controlled to me.
I mean, we see Scotty, who's working on his grip essentially before every round, after every round. He's got his training aid. So that just goes to show back to the basics for everyone at home, for us, for any golfer, how important that can be.
Yeah, if that club face is pointing this way, but your right hand is under the club this way, it's not really aligned. So I'm a fan of a neutral grip most of the time for most golfers. It's kind of more like that same orientation favors your feel of where that club face is in space. You don't have to manipulate through impact. Try to reduce manipulation and reduce tension in the swing. We got to be neutral with our setup, and having a good grip like Scotty does is a big deal. It's a big, big deal.
We're still tracking Rory McIlroy on the range. How about with his setup? Is he pretty neutral with everything right off the bat?
He is. He is neutral from all the way around. Ball position, grip, posture, square shoulders, square toes and knees. There's really no crisscross alignments where There's guys out there that play lots of big curves, and you'll see a very interesting combination of alignments. I just got to play with Bubba Watson last week in a Pro-Am. He's got quite a few interesting alignments. He chooses to set up quite a bit open.
Move the golf ball.
Yeah, but Rory, doesn't do that. It's more intentional, and it's a little bit more traditional, and safe might be a word. He's got plenty of power, so he doesn't hold back, but certainly just everything is square, very much aligned and oriented for neutrality. And you can see his ball flight is generally a smaller curve. He doesn't play big curves.
And just having the opportunity to play with these top golfers, observe them, teach them, what is it that you're taking away that separates them from, say, an average golfer?
They're all working on their swing, but at the same time, they're really, I don't think, out there playing golf swing. They're playing golf, and they have tremendous speed. The sound of the ball coming off their club head is just unlike those of amateurs that I teach. And so being around that and seeing the way they compress it, what they do, those bottom 12 inches of the swing, and how they get back to the ball, and uniquely in their own way. I think we tend to try to chase aesthetics and a textbook golf swing, but these pros own their swing. They own how they move. They move in their way their body functions, and for a lifetime of the game played, how they played as a kid is probably very similar to how they play now, and they maintain that amazing mindset. They're joyful about the play, the game, and practice. You have to love to practice to play this game, and so that's what I notice is their love for the game, their discipline in practice, their ability to stay on message when it counts under pressure, and ultimately trust themselves because of the time they put in, but also because they've built those instincts and they know how to play under pressure with tournament golf.
Well, that's the quietest I've seen our T-Mobile range right there.
Yeah.
Just a few players
Rory's
gearing
getting all
up.
the reps in. Where is everybody?
I know, coming off Friday, everyone trying to get things
I think
rolling
they're
for the
spending
day.
extra time on the putting green. That might be the case right now.
That's definitely where you learn,
Yeah.
and then you know what you want to focus on.
Yep.
Now, when you were talking about just some of those best players in the world, and you said they're out there playing golf.
Yes.
Do you mean that in the sense of, listen, these are athletes, no matter what their swing technical side happens to be, they know they need to get the golf ball in the hole at the end of the day, and they just need to do that?
Yeah, it's, target, club, hit the shot, see the shot, hit the shot. There's a process happening, and it's a little bit less probably in the moment about a swing mechanic. I'm sure there are swing thoughts happening, and there may be winning swing thoughts that carry them through and settle them, but in those moments, they're really, I think, more focused on what is the next shot, what am I playing, and seeing and feeling the shot for themselves. There's a certain level of fluency that these tour level players have where they're not necessarily overthinking a shot. They just know what they want to do. They talk about their caddy, they commit, and they hit the shot. So that's what I mean when I say play golf. It's just another level of automated and fluency. It's kind of like if you were a hockey player, you're not thinking about how you're skating. You're just playing. You're shooting the puck. You're playing the game. So here it's the same thing. These guys are not thinking about their golf swing individually every single time. They're feeling their swing. They're connecting to their target, and they're choosing a shot, and they're hitting it. It's a lot about commitment.
Yeah, definitely amateur golfers. I think they like to be on the golf course. They realize they've got a miss, and they want to fix it in the moment, and the next shot is when they're going to start changing things up, which is not the time to do it.
The best players in the world, regardless of sport, but we see it here in golf too, they play with freedom. And there's no holding back. There's no fear. I saw, I know Chris Goddard struggled a little bit yesterday afternoon on a couple spots coming in, but he played without fear. Some of those chip shots out of the rough, full swings next to the green, like these guys trust their game. They trust their skill. They're not thinking about messing up. They just know the shot they want to hit, and they go for it. So I love that. I love seeing people and these players play without fear and trust themselves, and they play free. And that's when they're on a roll and they're going to do something special.
Well, we'll be looking for that at the top of the leaderboard today with our final groups. Really all the groups that are going out this afternoon because it's anyone's game. All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Having me. This was fantastic. So much fun.
Our
Thanks,
PGA
Alex.
of America golf professional. And now let's head over to Ludwig Oberg and hear what he had to say after yesterday's round.
It's very tight. I think there's a lot of good players within striking distance going into tomorrow, and it's a cool thing, I think, for the viewers. I think it's cool to see that many guys have a chance to win a tournament, but it doesn't necessarily change the way you play this golf course. I think the way it's set up with a lot of difficult golf holes, a lot of strong par threes, and difficult shots into some of these par fours, there's not a whole lot you can do differently. So I think that's why we're seeing a tight leaderboard, but it also makes it exciting for tomorrow.
right, all great insight from Erica Larkin there. And we have another PGA of America golf professional joining the show. He was with me at Ryder Cup, so we are bringing it back. Thanks for being with us. Hamish Gardner.
Thank you, Alex. Hey, yeah, great to see you again. So happy to be here Sunday at the PGA Championship. Got 22 players within 4 shots of the lead. I think we're ready for a really exciting day.
We do happen to find each other in places where we've got a great view, great golf going on, and an exciting finish. So
That's right, yeah.
You mentioned that packed leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you looking at to branch out and move away from the pack?
I mean, the few golfers that we aren't really surprised to see there near the top are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. If they're a few shots behind the lead, they're usually pretty good at coming back and putting some pressure on those leaders. I think Alex Smalley obviously in a great position near the top, and he's really been leaning on his putting this week, leading the field in strokes gained putting and averaging 28 putts per round. So I think he'd be a great player to get it done for his first major and his first tournament win.
Yeah, there's our leaderboard right there. Plenty of some new and veteran names on the board. Goddard won the WM Phoenix Open earlier this year. Justin Thomas looking for a 3rd PGA Championship.
That's right.
Rahm, we know he wants to get the career slam for Spain.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice mix on the leaderboard. We have some players who've been here before, major champions in John Rahm and Justin Thomas, who have 2 PGA Championship wins. They're both going to feel a little bit more comfortable out there today. Someone like Chris Goddard, pretty local guy. He's from our state where I work in New Jersey. Actually, our course record holder at Arcola, and I think he's got the length out here to play really well and get himself in position off the tee. And I think he could get pretty close down the stretch on the back 9.
That's very interesting. What's Arcola's style, and what do you need to do to go low there, and how can that relate to Aronimink?
It's another long golf course, golden age design, kind of similar to Aronimink, Donald Ross, where Herbert Barker and Walter Travis design. It requires some length off the tee. The greens are really fast, firm, and tough, so similar to Aronimink. So I think he's played well at the past at Arcola, and he's playing well this week, and hopefully see him get it done for the state of New Jersey.
All right, I like that tie in there. Course record. His father has 3 New Jersey state titles. Hamish, I know your game's good too.
It's okay.
You get to play quite a few events, and I see those rounds in the 60s.
Yeah, I had a few rounds, but there's a reason I'm in the broadcast booth with you here and not part of that team of 20, but hopefully I get there one day.
Hey, you'll be there. I have no doubt after seeing some of those scores. But we've got Rory McIlroy continuing to work through the bag.
Yeah.
What do you like about his style, matching up with the golf course, but especially a player who's just come off a major win and has that hunger?
Yeah, one thing I think since he won the Masters last year, we've seen Rory playing with a bit of freedom. He's got that weight off his shoulders, and it ties really well into major championship golf when in the past he's kind of on Sunday with a lead, might not have finished as strong, but we saw this Masters this year, he finished really strong after a 54-hole lead. Being 3 shots back today, I think he's in a great position. He has the length off the tee. He's got the iron play to get it close to these tucked pins today. So I think he's in a great position as well to get it done. To go back-to-back majors at the start of the year, would be pretty cool to see all 4 majors, the Grand Slam in the year. So we're rooting for Rory as well.
Well, we definitely know it will be important where you're leaving yourself on the green, if those putts are going in or not. But how about just off the tee and what we'll expect from the fairways, from the rough, what different shots they might have to have in the bag?
Yeah, I think we've seen it if we've watched the coverage. Ryan did some great things on the telestrator with Hideki out of the rough. The rough out here is thick. It's imperative that you put the ball in play and get it in the fairway, especially with how tricky these greens are. Proximity to the hole is important. So if you can get the ball in the short grass, makes it a lot easier to get the ball close to the hole. As far as kind of difference of playing out of this long rough, it's going to require a different club choice. Typically, we want to get more ball first out of the rough, so a little steeper movement of the club. Take your medicine for some guys, take less club, more lofted club. For the viewers at home, I'd stay with a 7-iron and under, and maybe a hybrid is a great club to play out of the rough as well.
Now, you mentioned that sort of golden age of architecture, and I think just back then, especially what we see with Donald Ross in this golf course, is that the greens are the defense.
Yeah.
So how can you play sort of a defensive game when you're going through a championship Sunday round?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing I like to work on, just either in my practice with a yardage book or on the hole, I'll work from the green back off the tee. So understand where that pin position is, make that help me decide where I'd like to leave my ball in the fairway and how I'd approach the rest of the shots all the way back to the tee. So yes, it is a big defense on these golf courses. So just having some understanding and knowledge going into a hole of the best place to leave the ball. Usually on these fast greens can be below the hole, so you don't have a big side winding putt, and you have a better chance to either make a birdie or get out of there with a 2-putt.
We definitely still see those flags blowing out there on the range, but not nearly as much as we've had in some of the past few days. So how will that just ease up for the players and make it a bit easier?
Yeah, the weather conditions are different. I think all northeasters here are rejoicing. It feels like a summer day after a long winter. So you'll see actually a lot of the guys on the range today are using a ball flight monitor because about a 20-degree difference, it's going to affect how the ball flies. Carry distances have changed. So I think the players will be happy with these conditions, especially with how difficult the golf course is playing. I think we've seen already some low scores out there today. And so, if you're coming back from a 3-shot behind the lead there, I think you'd be happy to have a little less wind so you can go after some pins and maybe take some more calculated risks out there.
We've got the top tracer there. You've already noted how players are keeping track of what their carry yardages are. Is there any point where in the round players are having to sort of take note of what their carry yardages are and look at where ball marks are, walk it off, see what the rollout is, just in real-time calculations like that?
I think a lot of these players actually really lean on their caddies. One thing I saw on the range today, Fooch, Justin Rose's caddy, he had his phone out going through the yardage book, and he's actually looking at the shot patterns that have been made on the golf course already. So they're leaning on their caddies for their advice to basically tell them where to hit it. But yes, understanding their carry yardages are so important. These players are so precise. 1-2 yard difference to get to a tuck pin makes a huge difference. So yes, leaning on those carry yardages is very important.
And just how you said that is interesting. Gathering information from rounds in the morning. I know there's certain players like Akshay, they like to watch the coverage in the morning if they've got an afternoon tee time, see what some of those pins are, how it's playing.
Yeah.
How important is that? Is there a reason for the players that don't like to watch?
Yeah, I think it's player dependent. You want to be comfortable by the time you get to the first tee. It's a long day. These leaders are going off at 2:30. They probably don't want to watch the coverage all morning and bring some nerves in. But I think, yes, a lot of the players will be watching it. But what I noticed on the range today is the mood out there is pretty light for the most part. People are moving at a pretty slow pace and a rhythm, and they're keeping that rhythm the same to try and feel really comfortable once they get to the first tee. I saw Chris Gotterup had some AirPods in his ear, and Patrick Reed as well, and Brooks Koepka had his full team around him, keeping things pretty light. So it just, player dependent, really.
I'd love to know what they're listening to on those AirPods. And just taking a look at Justin Rose over the past few days, 70, 73, 65, 1 under for the day right now. So I think taking up all that information that you said he has been from caddies and on the golf course is really going to be important for today.
Yeah, him and his caddy Fooch have a really good partnership, and they have for years. Justin Rose, I think he understands. He's getting up there in age compared to the rest of the guys out here. He's had some great finishes in the last 2 Masters, and he's probably hoping that he gets another major here before he finishes his PGA Tour career. And Philadelphia has been a good place for him. Won the U.S. Open at Merion down the road, so he's probably going to try and channel that, get that confidence, and play the strong game that we've been seeing these last couple of years.
The Merion win got close here at Aronimink. But Hamish, we've got some swings that have come in for you to take a look at.
Yeah.
So one in particular, text us your swing. You guys have been doing it all week. Hamish, let's take a look and see what your first thoughts are for this golf swing.
Love to.
text us your swing, everybody. Hamish, when you're evaluating a new player for the first time, what are you looking at?
Typically, you start with the fundamentals. We're looking at setup here. This golfer, we'll watch him hit a golf ball here. Yeah, he's got a good move. A couple of things. First off, we'll look at the grip. You always check the grip first. You'll see Scotty Scheffler is even working on his grip, so that fundamental even is so important for the #1 golfer in the world. A couple of things that I'm seeing in this gentleman's swing. He gets a little long at the top. He rotates nicely through the golf ball, but as you see, if you stop there, the club gets a little bit to the inside early. But that little bit longer swing and gets it a little across the line helps him shallow out the club on the downswing. Finishes in a nice balanced follow-through. What I'd have him do is just a little change at setup, get a little bit taller in the legs, help him rotate a little better to his trail side, and then work from the ground up in the transition there. But nice golf swing.
Yeah, that looks great. And you've got a guy like Chris Gotterup who goes a little bit past parallel too when you get to the top.
Exactly.
How can that help you? How can that hurt you?
I think it's just about finding your matchup, really. So working with a PGA coach to find the best move that's right for you. If you walk down the range here at Aronimink, not one person has the same swing. Some are a little laid off at the top, some a little across the line. So find a PGA coach near you that will help guide you to find the right matchup for you.
Hamish, how did you get into the game of golf? You've lived in China, you speak multiple languages.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very accomplished. What was your route into the game?
My father's in the golf business as well. I've been around golf my whole life. I was lucky to just go into work with him at a young age and be around golf. Always knew I had a passion for it, wanted to turn it into a career, and found the PGA Golf Management Program at New Mexico State, which I loved. I had great mentors there in Pat Gavin, Josh Salmon, and Henry Statina, and turned that into a career and was able to find some really great facilities to work out of.
And I think the community that you can build too, just going through the PGM program. I've even seen some of your alumni tweeting about you, celebrating some of your rounds over the years, and I thought that was very cool to see.
It's a great network, and it's one of those few career paths where you build a network across the country, and you all share the same passion for golf. So keep in touch with a lot of them and try and play golf as much as I can. It's a really great moment in my life going to that university, and I'm really happy.
And not bad to have friends at all the best golf courses across the world and across the United States.
Yeah, it's been great.
There's Xander Schauffele, who's gearing up for his round. It looks like he's doing some little half swings, maybe low ball flight there.
Yeah, I think it's really important with wedge play to control trajectory. So you'll notice as players start their warm-up on the range, they're working some smaller swings. Xander here is one thing I really like about his motion. He keeps that club really wide in the takeaway. He's using that length of the swing to control the distance, just a little pivot in the motion. There's not much wasted effort. So that helps him control the trajectory of his wedges while still keeping a lot of spin on the golf ball. And another thing that's just important at Aronimink here, you have to control that landing spots and bring the golf ball into the green with a lot of spin to hold these firm, fast greens.
Starting out with wedges on the range, but how about on the golf course? I think we all kind of know you're not supposed to take a full swing wedge. What's your thought on that? What's the reasoning?
It's something for myself and my students too. Try not to go to 100% with a wedge. Really, that helps you control the spin rate and your centerness of contact, two really important factors with a wedge in your hand. So I like stressing kind of a clock system, understanding your yardages through kind of movement back with your lead arm. You can work it back to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then write down those yardages with each wedge, and then you'll have a good idea of kind of how far each wedge goes on the course and kind of how to manage your game without going full swing, full power on every shot.
And I think dependent on where you leave yourself in the fairway at a course like Aronimink, you might be having to carry bunkers, you might want to chase it up, that sort of front opening. What's the difference in shots that you're hitting there?
Yeah, so like I said, kind of working from a pin back before is really important. You'd like to see kind of that green contour when you bring a shot into Aronimink. There's a lot of these holes where you can play a bit of a backstop. You can be a bit more creative with a wedge in your hand. So having that kind of ability to control your landing spot is really important, and something that Xander does really well. He's not just a long hitter, he's got great short game, and just a really well-rounded player.
I talked earlier in the show just about how aggressive you'd want to be, maintaining position. So when you're out on a golf course like this, how do you evaluate where you want those misses, or where you would want to leave yourself if things don't go quite right?
Sure. I'll go back to the caddy's kind of involvement. If you look at the yardage book for all these players, a lot of them will have a big X in certain parts of the golf course. That's just a no zone. You don't want your ball to end there. Obviously, I think on a Sunday in a major championship, some of them will be taking some bigger risks, maybe bringing in those misses, but taking a risk-reward kind of scenario there. So yes, mark those and learn about the golf course prior to the round, just so you know where to miss the golf ball, because golf is a game of misses really at the end of the day. A better miss can still end up pretty good. So just be aware of kind of your surroundings out there.
And I think sometimes with amateurs you think, don't take a look at where you could possibly miss, because that's going to put a bad image in your mind.
Sure.
What's the difference of having negative thoughts or just evaluating where you don't want to go?
Yeah, I mean, you should really approach every shot with some confidence. I like the focus of aiming small. Aim small, miss small is a nice thought to have, but making confident swings to conservative targets, I think, is a great kind of mindset to have on the golf course.
All right, I like that. A lot of things that our amateur golfers can take away from the best players in the world, our PGA of America golf professionals. Hamish, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
Ryder Cup, PGA Championship, we're making the rounds.
Yeah,
love to see it. All right, let's toss it over to Jon Rahm from his presser after yesterday's round.
I'm not going to take on anything outside what I can control when it comes to competing tomorrow. What it would mean for Spain as well in the Grand Slam tally, and being the last leg of the Grand Slam for us as well. It's a lot of things that will mean a lot, but too much of it is out of my control. So hopefully I can keep doing what I've done so far this week, especially today, and I get the chance to answer that tomorrow.
Back for a second time, which is very exciting. Very different storylines going on than we had on Wednesday, which is interesting. So Kathy, just take us, Wednesday we sat here, a lot of preparation. I think we didn't know quite what to expect or what was to come. Well, now here we are. What are some of those storylines that have changed?
I mean, okay, let's see. I'm shooting 7 under today.
Bogey free.
No, I actually didn't think there were going to be so many players at the top and kind of clustered up. I think as of last night, I was counting, was it like 42 to 46 players in contention potentially today, right? So it makes it very exciting. I'm glad that there isn't somebody that's really, really standing out today, because I feel like, you know, from a spectator perspective, you definitely want the drama, and we're absolutely getting the drama today.
I'm going to be very interested to see where those crowds fall out on the course, and who they're going to choose to follow, because you really just don't know who's going to light it up and how quickly you can make it to a different group.
I totally agree. And, you know, I was just on the range when Rory was warming up, and you can just feel the excitement from the spectators, the gallery, but he was actually very calm and even keeled, and that was something that really stood out to me, where he was very deliberate on each practice shot that he was hitting. He was checking every number, and he was definitely testing out different ball flights. So really, really cool to see.
Well, let's take a look at Jon Rahm over on the range, who I don't know if you got a chance to see him yet in person and what that demeanor is, but He definitely needs to get it dialed if he wants to do something for himself, for Spain.
I totally agree. And he's kind of in an interesting predicament on a social aspect too, right? It's just with the whole live thing and then where he is today. I think he has something to prove, and I'm hoping, you know, he does his best, and there he is right now on the range there. You know, the environment and the vibe on the range so far with most of the players have just been very calm, very even keeled. So I don't really expect anything different from him, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we always know kind of what to expect from him.
Yeah.
He does have that sort of consistency across his rounds. But Kathy, if you can just kind of go through his golf swing and what you like about it and why he's so successful with it.
Yeah, I actually refer to his golf swing pretty often with my students. And the reason is because his swing is very compact, as you know. It's not a super long one, but he generates a ton of power. So it's just to prove that efficiency is key, especially when it comes to amateurs. And he is a great example of somebody that just takes it, what we would probably feel is like a quarter swing. It's about halfway and then he just hits. And a lot of it is the body motion. He just kind of lets his arms swing through along with the body once he sets the hands at the top.
You mentioned efficiency, power. I think if you're just generally looking at it as an amateur, you think, oh, take it back further.
Yeah.
So where are you generating that power from if you're a guy like Rahm?
Oh my gosh. I mean, look at his stature, right? I would say he's definitely a powerhouse. He does have bigger arms too, but if you look at the way that he stands over the ball, it's very much a body type swing. And that's the difference that I see with most of these professionals versus the amateurs, is it's really not about the arms. It's more about just setting the position of the arms and the hands and then letting the body power through.
And here is Jon Rahm doing the towel drill.
Yes.
Something I think we've all done at one point or another.
Yes, absolutely.
It never ends.
Yeah.
You can be a top player in the world and still be doing it. So what's he looking for, and what's that feel that he's searching?
Yeah, he is keeping it nice and compact again. Like, it's just the common storyline for him is keeping it compact, making sure that his arms stay connected to his body and his body is turning through. So that torso rotation, that hip rotation that he's able to create is what keeps it nice and controlled, and it keeps it dialed in.
And I think something that Rahm can do at points is just get a little quick.
Yeah.
And how can that hurt him, especially on a day like a championship Sunday? How does he keep the tempo?
Yeah, that's really a great question, Alex. I think the reason he might get a little quick is, one, his swing is short, so that the time that he has from backswing to the downswing is relatively short, and then he's also very strong. So if he's quick, he's probably quick because he's trying to rotate a little too quickly, right? And then the arms just kind of fall behind.
When would that help you to speed things up, and when would that hurt you?
It's a fine line, Alex.
It certainly is.
It really is. And I think that's the ongoing thing, is just knowing how to find your cadence and your tempo. You can try to copy somebody as much as you want, but ultimately at the end of the day, because your body is different than everybody else's, it's just a matter of finding what's comfortable to you and then also being able to repeat it over and over again.
Yeah, that's very true. Just understanding your body type and what can help you that you already have and what might just not be possible.
Yeah, and listen, like, obviously this isn't our day job, right? We have other things that we do throughout the week. We're not getting paid to play. These guys are getting paid to play. It's actually very crucial for somebody like Jon to make sure that all parts of his body are working and working together well. So it's not just about the golf swing. It's about the preparation to be able to pull off the golf swing that he wants when he wants it. And I think that goes for all of players.
Absolutely. And let's just go back to Alex Smalley, who bogeys 3 of his first 4 holes yesterday, and talk about maybe something not going right for you in the moment. And he got it back.
Can you talk about, let's talk about the mental toughness that guy has right now. I mean, the course is playing really hard. Like, we were talking about how tough we thought the course was going to be, you know, when we were here on Wednesday. And then we look at these scores, and I feel like today is probably, I don't know, realistically the most scoreable in a sense. And the wind has been picking up. The weather is now nice. Greens are getting faster. Alex Smalley, coming off of those bogeys, I think a lot of people at home thought it was going to be the end of it for him, but he was able to pull it out to the end. And I mean, he's going to do great. He's going to do great.
I think it's so awesome to see newcomers work their way up, and it's not like he just had one good round. Said earlier in the show, only player to have all 3 rounds under par.
I know, it's so awesome.
So you take that plus how I said the 3 bogeys in the first 4 holes. Wow, being able to come back from that when you're not used to being in a contention spot or a final pairing like this.
Yes, and it's all mental toughness. So I think as long as his head is in it, I think he's going to be okay. I definitely think there's going to be a fight to the end, which is what we like to see. Let's get real. But for him, I think as long as he keeps his composure and he keeps his head in the game, he definitely has a good chance.
Well, this will certainly be a fight till the end,
Yes.
and I think he's got some great support out here too. I believe it was his mom was taking some behind-the-scenes photos of him getting that interview with Amanda Balionis after the round, and look at that, 6 under. Major championship here at Aronimink. Amazing golf course.
Would I like to shoot 68 with 4 bogeys on my card? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
On the front 9, look at that. And then the back 9, he just rips into it, which is amazing to see.
So we know it's a par 70 golf course. How does that maybe hinder being able to go lower? How does that change just how you're going to approach the golf course?
You know, I've always found that par 70 courses are a lot tougher because it's not necessarily shorter, right? So it's really about strategy. Our East course at Baltimore Country Club is also a par 70, and it's not the longest course, but you definitely have to make sure that you're strategic on where you're hitting the ball because you don't have those extra strokes. So for somebody that's a shorter hitter, I would definitely say that it is tougher to be on a par 70. For somebody that might be a little bit longer of a hitter, I mean, they definitely do have an advantage.
And it almost puts more emphasis on every hole. Every par 5, you really want to try and birdie those par 4s. They're going to be maybe a little bit more grueling. Par 3s, we know they're difficult out here. John Rahm did an amazing job on the par 3s just across the last few days, which is so important.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I think amateurs assume that par 3s are the easier holes, and I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Some of these par 3s on this course were just wild to watch, and it is every shot counts. I feel like every stroke is weighted a little bit heavier when the par across the board is lower.
Now, I know you said you can get heated watching golf.
Yeah.
You love watching golf. I know you've been working, you have your students you're taking care of at Baltimore Country Club, but just from watching the past few days, what has, I don't know, just sort of piqued your interest and maybe got you heated there?
You know what? It's actually the number of putts that have been missed, and not just missed, but like really missed. And it just shows how hard it is to read the greens here. There's so many nuances to these Donald Ross greens, and even the professionals have a hard time with that. So that's really what's been getting me heated up. I think, you know, all the other shots are kind of so-so. Some of the shots that I've seen around the greens have made me a little bit happy on the inside because I know that they can screw it up too. Now, of course, the recovery is way better than the rest of us, but it's definitely been the short game that I've seen that really gets me riled up.
A lot of 5 to 7 foot putts that have been missed, and I think that's where great communication between player and caddy, because you have putts like that, they're a little bit shorter. You really have to match up the speed, the line, where you're starting the ball. So really being on the same page with your caddy as you're talking through that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's really no, like, you have to trust it. Because sometimes what happens is you'll putt it and you might not have seen the little extra slope that's on, like where the hole is, and then you miss it. And you know what? As long as you execute what you want to execute, if you miss it, you miss it. There's really nothing you can do about it. But like when I was watching golf yesterday, there were some holes where they would miss it by 4 or 5 inches. And I'm going, whoa, what happened there? We don't see it when we're watching it on screen, but they definitely, like, it's a very subtle nuance when they're reading these greens.
Especially when you've got greens like these and pins are sort of tucked on a ridge. It could kind of go either way. So back to how I said, it depends on what speed you're hitting your putt at and what line you're choosing, where it could drift off the opposite way. I hated to see Cameron Young do a 3-putt from 4 or 5 feet.
I know.
It
so
happens
wild.
for sure, especially here. But
yeah, I mean, I've seen tour players 4-putted before too, and it's not out of lack of, they're definitely trying, but sometimes it just goes the wrong way, and we feel that as an amateur, we feel that as not a tour player. But it's very interesting when we see a tour player miss it that badly. We're going, okay, what happened? What could have gone better? What was going through his mind when he 3-putted? And it's very important, I think, for the rest of us mere mortals to see that happen.
Mere mortals, let's pull up one of our text us your swings so you can give us your perspective on what we're looking at. So thank you, everyone, for texting in your swings this week. We're excited to take a peek at one coming up.
Let's do it.
All right. Here's our guy.
Woo! There he goes. All right. I mean, workable, I would say. He definitely has a little bit of an over-the-top steep swing. Probably slices it. If he leaves that club face somewhat close, it's probably just a dead pull. He can work on getting those hands a little bit more shallow and around, following his body line there. And I feel like the over-the-top move is the #1 issue for most golfers. You can see those hands just being thrown out there. He's just chopping down at the ball. Really, really tough thing to get out of. Very easy to get into.
That's true. But you know what? I really like that first takeaway checkpoint, kind of where the club head is to his hands, and then he gets to the top. It's almost that Freddie Couples,
my gosh,
high lifted.
Yeah, absolutely. If he can just work on maybe feeling like he's pointing the club head behind him and kind of stopping there, feeling a little more John Rahmy, I think he'll be okay.
And listen, we're not professionals getting to play golf every day. We know it's not all the time that you get to go out and play golf. So what's that fine line balance of making a swing change or also going out and committing to what you have?
Gosh, that's a very loaded question. How should I answer this?
The 9 to 5s don't make it easy for a swing change.
Yeah. So when I was on here on Wednesday, I was talking to you about how I hate when students come to me right before they tee off, right? And they're trying to implement something. Usually if they're coming to me for a lesson right before a round, it's because they're just trying to look for something. And you're not going to change a lot. So don't expect too much of a change when you're out on the golf course. You're under a pressure situation for 18 holes. If you're trying to change something out of your comfort zone, it's not going to work. So what I would suggest is focus on something more like tempo, making sure that your grip pressure, you're not choking the club, right? Things like that will be more helpful to you versus trying to make a technical or mechanical change. These tour players, yes, they make mechanical changes, but they spend hours and hours and thousands of golf balls making that change. And you can still see them when they're on the driving range. On the final day of the PGA Championship, they still use alignment sticks. They still use the different things for them to rehearse over and over again.
Very common theme. And Alex Smalley going into today at the top of the leaderboard. He's 78th ranked in the world, so not a ton of experience, but also how could that maybe help him being the underdog and not having sort of the weight of the pressure of expectations?
Boy, we love an underdog, don't we? So
especially the PGA Championship.
Oh my gosh, always. And it being the major, it is. And I think he doesn't really have a lot to prove in a sense. Like, he's already proven his worth through the last 3 rounds. And if he if he comes out on top on this one, I mean, I don't think there's any stopping him. If he doesn't, then we know that he's a contender, and he's definitely going to be a household name.
And I kind of like that he's been under the radar this season, 7 top 25 finishes.
Yeah.
So he's been up there, just not, maybe catching our attention in that leading way. But there we go. Alex Smalley,
Wow.
Maddie Schmid are German. I like this
67,
pairing. I think it'll be interesting.
Yes.
I don't know how it would have maybe played out differently if you had an Alex Smalley with a John Rahm or a Rory McIlroy, if maybe that would help or hurt Alex. I just don't know how much this plays into where his mindset will be.
I totally agree, and I think that's one of the things that will keep the gallery watching. I think that this is a great pairing for Alex. I think as long as, because if you're someone that is playing with Rory or even a John Rahm, there's going to be a huge gallery around you. There's going to be a different level of expectation. The vibes are different out there. Playing with somebody that's not John Rahm or Rory, I think will only be a benefit.
Yeah, even warming up next to the best players, major champions, John Rahm there. But I certainly was relieved a little bit, just if I was thinking it was me going out having to play the Alex and Maddie combo. Maddie, a great player, but ranked 97th in the world. He also hasn't sort of had that mainstream spotlight on him. Turned pro in 2021, no wins, but 25 top 25s over the years.
Yes. Wow, look at that.
Love
292
to
flat
see this.
carry. Yes, I love these numbers. These are amazing. 167 ball speed is something that I will never see in my lifetime for myself. Hang time looks great. I mean, look at his little baby draws that he's hitting. These look great. And I imagine that he's paying really close attention to these trajectories. Every tour player, almost every tour player, I would say, has some sort of launch monitor on the driving range at all times to make sure that their numbers are accurate. The range here at the championship is a little downhill, so the players are kind of propped up above the range itself, so it's crucial for them to know what their actual carry numbers are in this instance, because quite frankly, they're not going to be always looking from above into a green.
And there's his TrackMan right there, paying close attention to those numbers. Hey, how about for people at home? You might not have access to a nice little orange TrackMan like that, but listen, there's ways to get those numbers. It can even be done while you're playing your rounds. Take a look at where the pitch mark is, walk it off. Just kind of give everyone a little takeaway of how they can do that.
Yeah, well, technology is so good now, and I feel like it's so accessible to buy equipment or things that will help you track, and it'll only make you better. So for example, Arcos has their little thing that you plug at the end of their golf club, right? There's little mini launch monitors that cost less than $500 that you can get. Really, really great investment, because you want to know what's going on out there. And the thing about it is, when you're out there playing golf, when you're out there warming up, you're not looking to see what the longest 7-iron was during your practice session. You don't take that number and go out there and play, right? Because that was probably once every 20 balls. So you're trying to find an average, and if you don't have some sort of way of figuring that out, it's going to be very, very hard. So like you said, Alex, if you're out there, maybe we take a look at where the pitch mark was from 150 yards on the golf course, right? If it's short, okay, that's fine. We can walk it off and figure that out. But I would say with the technology now, let's get you something that's accessible, that's a little more affordable, something that you can keep in your golf bag, so when you go practice, you'll be a lot more efficient.
Okay, take a look at this. Alex Smalley, he's tapping out the back of the range right now.
This is incredible. I mean, 314.
I think he's a little amped up.
You think? You think?
He's got a little extra juice.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like he is just going. And I love to see it. And the adrenaline is rushing through him right now, right? The closer his tee time is, this is history making for him. So I'm sure his family is out here watching as well. And I think I think I would be in the same position. I would just be so amped up and ready to go.
This is getting me so excited.
Good.
And I feel like I really am Team Smalley because I would love to see him see it through. He's made it this far.
Yeah.
He's really proven himself.
Yes.
Just
he
get
looks
it done.
great. He looks great. I mean, he looks very composed. His tempo looks great. And he is smashing the ball.
Okay,
which is
I've got
awesome.
his driving distance
Okay,
from
let's do it.
PGA Tour, just because I want to see he's smashing these. Got around, let's see, 305, which is literally what is on the screen right here. So maybe he is just calm, cool, and collected out there, and we're the ones feeling the nerves for him.
I'm definitely nervous for him.
Which could be true, but
yeah,
I like that if he's still staying consistent, playing his own game. His
Yeah.
demeanor definitely looks like he is calm, that he's been there before.
Yes.
A guy who has not had a 54-hole lead before.
Absolutely.
And definitely not been in the final group.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, one thing that I want to share with everybody out there is when you're out practicing and warming up for a round, if you watch these tour players, they're not rushing. They're taking their time. They're very deliberate and intentional with what clubs they're hitting, what kind of shots they're hitting, because they've played the golf course a few times now. And if you're somebody that just gets to the driving range to warm up and there's no intention behind the actual practice, you're probably not going to get much benefit out of the warm-up itself, other than the fact that your body has stretched out a little bit, and that's pretty much it. So one little tip that you can take away from these players is just making sure that you have a nice structured warm-up practice before you go out and play.
Wow, here he goes. He's about to make the walk to the tee. This is going to be a
is.
very exciting afternoon.
I love it.
For everyone playing and everyone watching, because no one knows what's to come with that packed leaderboard.
Yeah.
Major champions in the hunt and newcomers alike. What do you think? Final thoughts before...
Listen,
tee
I
off?
am all for like a 6-way tie at the top with some sudden death action. That's what I want to see.
That'd be like me and my friends trying to cram in as many holes as we can before dusk.
But listen, this wouldn't be a PGA Championship without some sort of drama and excitement at the end. So I am so looking forward to it. There's so many notables at the top of the leaderboard here. I really do think it's anybody's game. Matsuyama's up there, Cam Smith, McNeely. You have just a group of household names that could potentially take it away from Smalley, but you know what? I'm rooting for Smalley.
It'd be hard not to have a playoff with a leaderboard like that.
I know. It is
so
amazing.
we shall see an exciting one to tune into. 108th PGA Championship at Aronimink Golf Club. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, over these past few days. Big thank you to all of our crew here on site back in Frisco, Texas. Thank you, and thank you for watching our PGA Championship Range Show powered by T-Mobile.